here. Hold up here. Here we go. We're going to do something real different, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Here
This
we
must
go.
be the Apex Clip Show. Oh, yeah. I know this.
Hail, hail, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. Welcome to Apex After Dark. Hello. How you like my new trailer, huh? My new intro.
That friggin' shit. That rocks, man. You know what? DBS did you right. Was that a DBS?
Yes, he did. DBS, Death by Saver. He did it himself. I provided all the images. He set up the music. The music is copyright free, complete copyright free, and did a fantastic job. Thank you, Death by Saver, or as we known as DBS. Thank you so much, sir, for putting that together for me. Yeah, let's say hello to the mighty chat. The mighty chat, indeed. Hex Allen was first coming up here. Apex, please send a link to your comics all over your socials. Keep forgetting to buy a copy, but you know what? Hex did buy a copy. He bought my first customer on my Apex Comics Cavalcade Ashcan. Yes, you too can order one through my PayPal link, paypal.me/Apex Graphics. What you get for $10, it's postage paid. You get 20 pages cover to cover, 3 stories, complete black and white pages, and a color wraparound color. And all you have to do is put in the description, order one. Hex Allen did it. You can too, folks. So it's available. And let's see who else is here. Citizen 333. Hail. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Hey, Hex.
StephenRansom, of course, he's here. Yep. We got Super Shadow Bandman. Thanks. Hello. I think I know who this is. I think it's Jeremy. I think it is, man. Good to see you.
I think it's Jeremy Bart.
Yeah. That's right. Well, we have our special guest, StephenRansom. I've known you for a little bit. You've been appeared on Ashley Lynn Gaia Storm's channel. My bad a few times. And I may have known you before that. I'm not sure. So,
well, we've definitely been on the Captain's Bridge together for sure.
That's right.
Didn't a couple of times on the Captain's Bridge.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
Captain Infinity and beyond.
That's right.
Captain Spock, formerly Captain Spock.
Yeah, he's finally settled into a name. I think he's pleased with the Finity name. I think he's going to roll with it because he's internalized it into his book, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has. Yeah, he has. The new comic that Diller Dross is currently drawing right now.
That's right.
Says, except for string with certain, man. This is super in the shadows. Yes, it's Citizen. All right. So, man, so Stephen, what got you started on YouTube, and what influenced you getting a channel?
Well, first off, as a sci-fi geek for decades and decades, this concept of YouTube was something that we had speculated about, a friend of mine and I, when the internet really started happening. So as soon as YouTube happened, I got on here as a viewer. And I've been on here since the earliest days, probably not as early as Gary, but early 2010s, right?
Oh, wow.
Got in here and just viewing.
Yeah.
But sometime when, around the time that, a lot of people tell the same story, when we got locked in, internationally, YouTube became a very different thing in my life. It kind of became like the only thing in my life. I had to transfer all of my socializing to YouTube because it was where I was at.
Right.
And that was pretty much it. I did a few things, started putting some stuff up on my channel, some short videos, some long form videos, some poetry kind of videos. And And then all of a sudden, this live stream thing just kind of happened. And now
Yeah.
this is my 108th live stream participation.
108th. You count these things?
I've
Wow.
got them all collected because none of them are mine, right? I'm like
All right,
somebody's
yeah.
wingman 1,000 times over, right? Supporting,
Yeah.
backing up, showing up, right? Keeping the chat alive, commenting and adding to the conversation. Was always a big part of my life. I'm a coffee house guy. I love me
Yeah.
a cafe. I love me a good conversation about anything. So when I started live streaming, I just went for it, man. I haven't looked back
yeah.
since.
Well,
That's good.
let's talk some sci-fi.
Let's do
Now,
it, man.
of course, the ultimate question for some, not for me, because I appreciate both and more, is are you Star Wars or Star Trek or both?
I am both and old
Yeah.
school across the board. Okay. I genuinely appreciate, because I grew up with it as a child, both the initial Star Trek series, because that came first, and then the ultra ambitious,
damn it, Bones,
pirate nature of the Star Wars universe, which totally floored me.
Yeah.
It totally
Everybody.
floored me as a boy.
How many movies stayed in the theater for a year and a half or more?
Well, other than Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, well, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah, right.
That movie.
Yeah. And then Battlestar Galactica on TV.
Oh, well, I saw it in the theater as a feature-length film before it ever became a TV show. It was only rumored when the movie came out that they were really going to do this thing, and they pulled it off. They pulled it off. All that model work was never seen before, and then Buck Rogers is soon to follow.
Oh, bitty.
Yeah. You know what? As a young man and as a sci-fi geek, I thoroughly welcomed every moment of it, man. It was really good.
And Buster Crabbe was in one episode as a character against Buck, because he played Buck Rogers in the movie serials and Flash Gordon and Tarzan, among other things.
Mind you, I was also watching Space 1999.
Oh, yeah.
I was familiar with the series UFO, even though syndication kind of messed up
UFO.
how often you could see it.
Yeah.
And those sort of things. Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants, right?
That was one of my favorites, Land of the Giants. That was cool.
It was that Austin Powers color palette too. It was all hyper 60s, right?
I love the beginning of it. The intro to Land of the Giants is
an Irwin Allen production.
Allen. You see the flashlight going on. See the figure right there.
And the invaders in color.
Yeah.
Not to mention Lost in Space. Let's not forget that as well.
Lost in Space, yeah.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, of course.
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, right?
Man, he had
that was a great adventure. I always, as a young child in the late 60s, I always enjoyed the underwater adventures. It was just like space. It's like, ooh, it's a world that, maybe even I could identify with that even more than space, because it was here on the earth, the oceans. Every child, I think, wonders what's under the sea and the oceans and things. And I always enjoyed like Aquaman and from Filmation or Hanna-Barbera, cartoons and things like that. And then
and we also had that. There was a feature-length film involving a miniaturized submarine. Fantastic Voyage, was it? Where they go inside somebody's body to save his life.
Oh yeah, Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah, with Raquel Welch, Donald Pleasant, among others.
Stephen Boyd. Those guys.
That's where the Rick and Morty meme comes from, where they lampoon it in Rick and Morty, where they miniaturize the miniaturizing technology, and they make fun of the president of the United States because he's using 70s shrinking technology where the clothes don't fit anymore. So that's the film they're making fun of, is Fantastic Voyage. So,
I miss bell bottoms so bad.
I own a pair of semi-legit bell bottoms.
Yeah.
They're slightly belled. Square pockets too. Small square pockets.
Yeah. Never wore the pocket protector though. Wasn't that geeky back then?
You know what?
Right.
I didn't wear a pocket protector because I didn't care if my pen stained my jacket. I was 80s, man. I was punk rock in high school. So,
Well, I graduated in '84, so I'll be coming up on my 40th anniversary here pretty soon.
I graduated 87, sir. So, yeah, right behind you. Yeah. So you remember B-52s. You remember all the good stuff.
Right.
And
yeah,
God, between
Banana
Back to
Rama,
the Future, RoboCop,
right,
and Alien, we had some prime time
Predator,
science fiction on screen, man.
Terminator,
Live action.
Yeah,
they were doing it right.
Infinity. Yeah,
and there's the Captain
and Flash.
Oh my God! I don't care what anybody says. That is not a spoof. That's what the comic books were like. The universe took itself seriously. There was no tongue in cheek in that.
Highlander.
Hawk. How you doing?
It's Alex
Highlander.
It's Alex Ross's favorite movie. Is Flash Gordon. He treats it like a rock opera.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the soundtrack, it definitely was.
Yeah.
And the action.
Hey, Cheryl Ann. Hey.
I mean, Queen did the soundtrack to Flash Gordon and Highlander.
Oh my God. They were chewing up the scenery with that soundtrack.
They sure was.
Friggin' drum rolls. God. And the Captain is laughing, I am sure. Yes, Captain, I am quite literally ubiquitous today. I am everywhere. I've been on a stream since noon, Rex. Since noon today.
Damn, you're hardworking.
Yeah, I've done 7 hours before I even came on here as well. So I've had a little rest, but yeah. It's a great medium to be able to have a channel or to go on other channels and just talk about whatever you want to talk about, especially the old sci-fi scene,
it's nice to have a topic, but I dig a chill stream, man. I dig a chill stream that's willing to just kind of go with the flow.
I think a lot of people just want to chit chat and have fun.
Yeah, exactly, man. Oh yeah.
Let's be
girls just want to have fun. Well, how about us guys? We want to have fun too.
Darn true.
All right. See you, baby. Cheryl. Yeah.
Yeah, the 80s were, its own renaissance after the 70s. And not that innovation didn't happen, but we're on enough, or at least I am enough to remember a little bit of the 60s, the happening 60s scene. And
we were getting some rock, and we were getting some incredible stuff. I mean, you think about Rollerball, Logan's Run, 2001. I mean, those are just the big heavy hitters.
Even the Roger Corman movies like Death Race 2000.
Damn right. Yeah, my uncle was really into that movie religiously,
Dr. Frankenstein, played by David Carradine.
And anybody who hasn't seen the movie we're talking about, Death Race 2000, the politics in that is insane. What's going on in that movie with the rebellion? And they try to convince Frankenstein to aid them, and it's like this woman running an American Patriot Rebel program. I mean, there's some serious stuff going on in that movie. It's crazy. And Rollerball 2 is all about the information age, reducing intelligence.
Phantasm.
Yep.
Or what was it? The Phantom of.
Yeah, it was Phantom of the Opera, but it was almost like Gotcha Man style.
Rock, yeah. He had like the silver helmet or teeth on and everything. I was too young to watch that. It was a rated R movie, but
I saw it years later, but it was like in the 80s. I think I got hip to it because VHS, man. VHS made a lot of things.
VHS brought a lot of things in the early 90s, especially. I got to retouch a lot of the stuff that I saw when I was a very young child.
Yeah, and anime finally came into our hands, like legit anime.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about what they were showing us on Saturday morning.
But even back in the 60s, you had what we called Japanimation, which was early anime. You had like Merboy, you had King Kong,
Astro Boy, and Speed Racer were big.
Speed Racer, of course, and what's another one? My earliest cartoon that I remember was also that Japanimation was Tobor the Eighth Man. He was that's robot spelled backwards.
That's
He
right.
was,
And that's
Oh
actually
yeah.
the legit grandfather to RoboCop. That show
Oh
is
wow, really?
RoboCop. Yes, it
I
is.
didn't thought
It's
about
a
that.
he
police
was a
officer
cyborg.
gets killed, and
Tobor.
And
his essence gets put into a cyborg.
if you have ever seen the first of it, a UFO comes and sits down near a bridge, and a giant like
Speed racer.
kaiju, you know, simplified Godzilla steps out and starts wreaking havoc on the city. And
Yeah.
called Tobor the eighth man, and he, like Clark Kent fashion, turns into Tobor, jumps out the window, subdues him with his own tail, ties him up with his own tail.
Mm-hmm.
Very memorable. But one I had forgotten about, Stephen, that actually Doc Blaylock, he did a trailer for me, an opener for me, and he put the cartoon in it. And I looked it up, and most of the episodes, if not all of them, are on YouTube. Hercules. I had totally forgotten about Hercules. And what I remember, I know I
Hercules.
used to watch it because it had little centaurs in it.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember most is the centaurs.
Yeah.
Very distinctive characters. And but from the late 50s, early 60s, Hercules, where he would become more powerful because he would put his H ring on, his Hercules ring.
And this was a Western animation, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
very
I was like,
simplified,
wait a second.
but
what's he
really
talking about?
heavily into Greek mythology, which was to a little kid, it's like, whoa, I'm getting a whole history lesson right here.
Yeah,
I mean, even
long
though it's just
before
a cartoon,
He-Man was even a conversation, right? That we were watching that, as well as what was the other one too? Before that was before He-Man. It was in the same universe, Hanna-Barbera, with Space Ghost, and it was
Space Ghost. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Back in the
in
60s,
that series. There was
Herculoids.
that's
And
it.
it came
the
back in the early
Herculoids.
and it came back in the early 80s too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
when
did.
Nick at Night got their hands on it and did Space Ghost across coast to coast.
Coast to coast, and then Birdman, attorney
That's
at
right.
law.
Birdman. Citizen has a question. Are Sea Demon and Land Shark related? No, they are not. They're two different characters. I have a aquatic character named Land Shark in my Apex Comics universe.
Oh,
and
okay.
he's also in the new Ash Candy Apex Comics Cavalcade. You too can buy one. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go put my banner up and whore my comic out. Here you go. Where is it? Where is it? I say. I'll have to find it. Okay, here we go. Yep. There you go. Yep. Apex Comics Cavalcade.
So
20
Stephen, if it makes you feel good, my daughter was born in 86, so you could be my son. You're very young, born in 87. Or no, you graduated in 87. I'm sorry.
Graduated in born in 69, sir.
Big
born in
difference.
1969.
Oh, you did hit the 60s. Awesome.
Yeah. And because I wasn't into sports at all, right? I was into cinema.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
TV,
I grew up.
TV, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, they helped define my life in a lot of ways. That's the way. That was the window to the world, to like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits or
I love the Outer Limits.
I mean, so many
Twilight
great
Zone and Outer Limits. Jeez, wow.
I've been watching lately Bonanza, which had an episode called The Ape, and who was in it? Leonard Nimoy. A young Leonard Nimoy.
You want to talk about ubiquitous? That guy was everywhere before Star Trek happened.
Yeah, but the very first thing he did was a movie. What was it? Zombies from the Stratosphere or something like that in the 50s?
Yeah.
Was a sci-fi movie. Yeah.
I remember him as the detective in the
50s.
iRobot adaptation for Twilight Zone, was it? Or was it Outer Limits? But they did an abbreviation of the detective robot story from the iRobot anthology.
Tales from the Dark Side. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, you can't we kind of touched upon Gary Anderson over there on the UK.
Yes.
All his Thunderbolts, and of course he did his first live action was UFO, which I
love that show, man.
adored. And then
That was
It
some
was
hip stuff,
Awesome,
man.
yeah.
that's the reason we got with Space 1999 is the moon base that in Space 1999 was supposed to
Maybe.
be an expansion of the moon base in UFO.
Right.
So
He was trying to connect those two universes, but he wound up having to close down one production to be able to continue the other.
Yeah, blown out. In fact, this year was, I think, the year that the moon was blown out of orbit, or some kind of anniversary or something went on this year.
I forget now if I was on my one channel FFSI or participating on PJ Maybe's show, but we did an anniversary show on the date of the exodus of the moon. We reviewed the first episode and really did a deep dive on it. So
I appreciate both, but I'm one of those that prefer the more horrific, and there was a lot of horror, a lot of scary things in Space 1999. It became a little bit more kid friendly with the shape shifting in season 2.
Right.
Which
much like Buck Rogers, the 1970s Buck Rogers became ridiculous. What was it, second or third season, where they all piled into a spacecraft and just went out into space? It's like, what the heck is this? What about Earth? What's going on, guys? What'd you do? And the Hawkman was his partner. It was like,
right.
Yeah.
So strange.
Hawk. What do you call it? Yeah.
And
he was cool though. Don't get me
cool.
wrong. He was a pretty cool dude.
Oh yeah.
Thor, wasn't he? Called Thor something, or Thor?
No, the character?
Yeah, the Hawk character. Wasn't his
Hawk.
real name?
This is Hawk. Hawk.
Yeah, okay. I think he was just Hawk.
Okay.
Hawk.
All right. Just Hawk. Just call me Hawk. Okay.
He's actually a precursor to Teal'c from the Stargate universe. It's a very similar vibe if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That
was another one that had like 10 seasons.
Partners.
Yeah. I'm one of these that experience, or Babylon 5.
Yeah.
And they're going to redo Babylon 5. J. Michael Straczynski is going to be writing it. And he swears that Star Trek franchise ripped him off. The concept of being on a space station and everything. Because both were out at the same time.
Well, I think one predates the other. And certainly production-wise, one predates the other.
Babylon was before, right?
Yeah. It's soon enough before that it means that they were well into production.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, he had some connections with them. So, like maybe rejected the ideal and went with something else. I don't know. But they basically wound up doing pretty much the same thing in a way. I really enjoyed in hindsight, because I didn't watch it really at the time. I might have caught a episode here or there. Even on Deep Space Nine, I didn't quite watch it all the time. But I caught more of the second Star Trek series, and the movies were great too. But finally, these actors like Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner, some say over the top acting on William Shatner's part. I mean, he's still going strong. He went into space, for God's sake, recently.
He actually did.
In his 90s. Awesome.
That's so cool.
And you know what? Anybody who's a fan of William Shatner really needs to give a show called Boston Legal a minute of your time.
It's actually a good show. Yeah.
He is fantastic in that
80s,
show.
In the 80s, it was T.J. Hooker.
Yep.
Yeah, Papa Cotton says Linda Carter is the reason why I've never been confused about my sexuality.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and to step into the hero genre, we had live action on screen Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. We had Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And one you forget from Filmation that predated the Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man and all of them, even Wonder Woman, was ISIS.
Yeah,
along with Shazam. Yeah,
I remember both. Yeah, I remember both. And Greatest American Hero, as silly as it was.
That's right.
It's a good show.
And what was the movie that John Ritter did? He did a hero movie.
Yeah, I think it's Hero at Large.
Hero at Large. Yeah, if
Right.
you've not
Yeah.
seen that, check that out.
1983, I believe.
That was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Yeah,
And
I went
even
to.
Bill Bixby gave a secondary character a spin. Some kind of he was handicapped and then encased himself in a bodysuit that
No.
gave him the ability to like fight crime. I don't even remember the name of it, but
Oh
that was
no,
also a thing.
Oh, I know. It's Tony
yeah.
Stark Unleashed. No, well, no, that wasn't it. But anyway,
No, I
that was
thought
a
you.
good try.
I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Bill Bixby. It was some other actor. He was. Yeah, he got into an accident. He was handicapped. And he was into a suit of armor, and he walked and he fought crime.
But there were a
I can't-
lot. There were a
yeah.
lot of failures too, like
Yeah,
Manimal,
well,
and
that was kind of one of them
Manimal.
too.
I
Yeah.
liked Manimal.
was it Carman, or what was it?
No, God, it was that
They
one,
made 90-degree turns with the car. Auto
I
Man.
don't remember.
I
Auto
can't
Man.
remember.
That's it. Auto Man. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Desi Arnaz Jr. was in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
a
was on
lot of it.
ABC.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of obscure ones that came in. There was also
Hey,
Auto
Mark.
Man. That puts your nose.
Auto Man. That's right.
There was also Above and Beyond or something like that. The Star Trek. I mean, the sci-fi show where they went out in space and stuff.
Yeah,
It was on. It was on NBC.
Wait,
That was pretty good, actually.
That was 80s, early 90s, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Space
probably.
Above and Beyond. You talking about?
I think so. Yeah,
I
Space
think it might have
Above and
been that.
Beyond.
Yeah,
God,
that
I
was
remember
that was a
title.
bunch. That was a bunch later on.
It was pretty good. Yeah,
and it was pretty good. It had some production, money issues, and you could
Right.
see it, in the casting and stuff.
Do you, Stephen? Do you
but-
think sci-fi people are ravenous? I mean, almost rabid for the next. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Hey, man,
I
I'll
mean-
tell you why. Because there's so much science fiction and so little live action science fiction that we even get. Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
ravenous because we're starving to death. And more recently than ever, so much of science fiction has been commandeered by, I don't know, young teen novels. Don't get me wrong, Hunger Games is a fantastic achievement all on its own, but there's so much junk out there and so much stuff that's being readapted for a younger audience, and it's
Logan's Run.
yeah, why, guys? Just why?
Yeah, man.
I want to see a remake of The Island of Dr. Moreau, a good one.
Isn't that RuPaul's Drag Race? Isn't that what that is?
Probably.
Paul's Drag Race. What the hell?
The Island of Dr. Moreau. It is.
And Jason and the Argonauts, or the Sinbad movies.
Oh my God, the Sinbad and the Seven Seas. God, all those swashbucklers were incredible.
In one
Jason
of them,
and the Argonauts style stop motion animation. Damn, those things were good.
Oh, you gotta love the stop motion. Yeah, of course.
Jason the Star Command.
Jason of the
I
Star
remember
Command
that
on
one.
Saturday mornings. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a dozen knockoffs of Thundercats and Thunder. What was it? There was another one. Silverhawks.
Yep. Yeah.
Silverhawks. Wasn't that Gil Kane? Silverhawks. I think it was.
I don't know. They looked a lot like the He-Man characters, but they were they look a lot more like
it was a cartoon
Thundercats.
Yeah,
that was a different one. Okay.
Yeah, it had a toy line too.
Yep.
Like Rom the Space Knight.
Yep.
Oh, I love Rom.
them.
Yeah.
Rom the Space Knight. Oh man, that was
would be a great live action.
It's actually a pretty good comic book,
It was.
I can't vouch for the toy, but
over 70 issues, I think.
I did like the new Battlestar Galactica, the readaptation with Ramos.
That was a solid effort, man. That was a solid effort.
Edward James Olmos. Yeah.
And they tried to spin off Capricorn or something like that. Capra.
Yeah, well, money.
It was kind of a failure. Yeah. But
you know what? Those first few seasons of them doing basically the original plot line, the Cylons were good, the politics were good. damn, all of the combat was freaking epic. They were
Hey, good
launching
stuff.
atomic weapons at those space stations, man. That
Yeah.
got unhooked, man. That was some epic space battles.
I'm
And
about to rewatch
Galactica
that.
was just like, yeah, come on, bring it, man.
I
We got
appreciate
nuclear weapons on your ass.
I
Freaking awesome.
appreciate Star Wars, or really, I mean, they had many Death Stars. You know, the Cylons did. They
Those
devastated.
things were cool, man. I love the
Yeah.
upgrades. They look
just
really
the
solid.
noises, you know, they made in space, you know, and
Yeah.
just the design. It was solid. The Vipers, and you got to see that. I mean, yeah, we know it's rear screen projection and stuff, but it, you know, it was great. It was, and then they tried to do 1980, you know, Battlestar Galactica in the 1980s. But we
the
got
original
one kinda,
series had its problems because they were basically running stock footage. There was only so much model work they could do for the original TV show.
And I think the last episode, but it was one of the most memorable. Whatever happened to Starbuck?
Right,
Yeah,
where it was like a Western. He had landed on some planet, right? Then he was stuck there, and he buddied up with a Cylon in the end, right? Wasn't it a Cylon that was stuck there too?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was it was cool, man. When we were kids, that was solid gold. That was solid gold.
And you got to see it weekly on TV. I mean, that's with the CGI, because Star Wars and Industrial Light and Magic changed everything. There's a lot of movies we would have never gotten. We would have never gotten a T2. You know, when I saw T2 with the liquid, silver liquid mercury type cop that was trying to kill everybody.
James Cameron is a genius because
the
production design on that movie
it is
still
now
flies
possible
today.
It is now possible to do a Silver Surfer movie, and yet had to wait a good decade to get one, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's,
and it looked better in T2, actually.
Well, what I mean is that because it was a liquid man, right?
Yeah.
And CGI was totally capable of doing that back then. The production values still hold true. So I've seen kids. I'm really into. It's intoxicating for me to watch these younger kids experience the movies we're talking about, right? Everything from Casablanca through Planet of the Apes, right?
Oh,
RoboCop, and all of the movies we're talking about right now. They watch T2 and they're still impressed with the visual effects. That monster is horrifying to some audiences still to this day.
He also did The Abyss, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cameron.
Yeah, the water monster.
So you know, with all criticism going on with the new Avatar movie coming out, I cannot hold a single grudge to Cameron at all.
No.
This man gave us the Titanic.
Yeah.
He reinvents himself every time he can. He spends more money with a friggin' shovel.
Did you see his documentary when he went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench?
That's another thing too. We would not know nowhere near as much as we do about the actual Titanic without this man.
Right. That's something else.
He's only the third man to go down to the, deepest place under the oceans. That's pretty remarkable. It's only
I'd go
been done
so
once
far
before.
as to say that James Cameron is on par, and I'm not going to say financially, but certainly the adventuring spirit of American freedom. Him and Elon Musk are cut from the same branch.
And so was the creator of King Kong, Merrill C. Cooper. He was a documentary adventurer. I mean, before
that's
he
what
ever
I mean.
got into movies.
But these two are contemporaries.
Exactly.
Those
and you
same
don't see that.
Bloodlines.
Yep.
Because Cameron, he does not hesitate to take huge financial risks.
They're risk takers. Exactly right.
Yep.
I mean, he put a lot of money into doing that documentary. He had to have a sub that could, and tested it several times. That took some money and a whole crew to get that thing just to test it, and just the seals. And
without the success of Titanic, we never would have gotten Avatar. And you know, all criticism of that film aside, we never would have gotten the new version of Planet of the Apes either, because
Oh yeah.
Andy Serkis would have no mocap, not like he did. His mocap was a grandson of Cameron's work from Avatar. Without his inventions, a lot of the effects that we live with today wouldn't even be possible without Cameron taking some of those initial steps.
And yet, like you said, the claymation of of the old yesteryear, Ray Harryhausen. I mean, just a joy to watch even today. If you're into that, it's and the 50s were so rich. I mean, there was not. I mean, the 3D craze of the early 50s, and it was the atomic age of, UFOs, invaders, and everything. That just set up, I mean, the stories. Frankly, a lot of those writers were writing in the 50s, like Rod Serling, and they would later go on to, do like Twilight Zone and Night Gallery and Outer Limits and some of those fantastic shows we were talking about. Irwin Allen. I mean, what an imagination,
Serling is just, he's built different, man. I don't. It's sad that we lost him, but like Terrell said in Blade Runner, it's the flame that burns twice as bright lasts half as long. It's Rod Serling is an example of that.
Road Warrior. We haven't mentioned the Road Warrior series.
That's true too.
Or
Mad Max.
Mad Max, yeah. Just so many rich things came out in the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, it was off to the races. Of course, there was a lot of knockoffs that some of them not too bad,
Oh yeah, we had some top-notch apocalypse style movies. I mean, The Boy and His Dog, Cherry 2000.
Look at the Day After. That was a successful. That really caused a stir about
right. We had that was right. That was just like Halloween Night with Orson Welles. A Day After was a film about an atomic weapon going off, and it basically forced television to announce that this was a damn TV show, not to take this seriously, because it was deeply frightening. We were living in the end of the Cold War.
Going all the way back to H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds being broadcast on radio and scaring some people, even though they in the mountains.
And he did it on purpose. Ryan Reynolds leaked the footage for Deadpool, and Orson Welles did War of the Worlds on purpose.
He had he had a radio show on CBS and NBC, and the laws were different. I heard him tell what he would do to get to the other studio on time, which was, I don't know how, they were blocks away. I don't know how far across town they were, but he would actually take an ambulance through traffic to get to the other radio gig.
Wow.
Well, if you look at LA, even back then, it was hard to get around. There was a lot of cars, a lot of trucks. Everything was on the road.
Citizen Kane with its miniatures and the camera going inward and outward, and then them sitting at the same table over time as they age. Just so many different innovations that it's still considered the best. I really don't know why, because it does have a political. It seems like more of a political message, but it was almost censored. And he said, while Nazi, he went in there and vouched for it. He said, stood up for it. He said, because the movie was kind of targeting, right? Very influential newspaper guy at the time, right?
Right. And Hess, I think, was the guy. It was supposed to be loosely based. No, not Hess. Hearst.
Hearst. And
Hearst.
Yeah,
right.
And
he tried to stop the film from being
There's
produced.
another movie came out. Actually, a friend of Billy Tucci's did it, and I was aware of the movie. It was on Chaplin, Charlie Chaplin, and Hearst, and Durst. That was Tobey Maguire's MJ. Remember Durst? She plays in it. She was also in
Kirsten Durst. Kirsten Durst. Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen Durst. She was in Interview with a Vampire when she was real young.
Oh God. Yeah.
She was in there, and it's basically a murder mystery. Well, it's not really a murder mystery. It just shows you what he thinks, kind of his interpretation of what happened. There was actually, he was out to kill Chaplin. He was because of his.
Well, who wasn't at that time? I mean, Hoover
Yeah.
had a friggin' sweet
Well,
tooth for the guy.
he
as
was
well.
hitting up on his
Belmont.
girl, and he was insecure, and he wound up shooting another actor that
Dunst.
had his hat on or something.
It's
and
Kirsten Dunst. You're
and he
right. Not
died.
Right,
Durst.
Kristen Dunst. Yes.
Dunst. Okay.
Thank you, Lemify. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's an interesting kind of caveat, and since
Chinatown too is supposed to be about
controlled the
Mulholland.
media, he covered it up. He covered the murder up of this Western Hollywood star at the time.
Yeah, if you watch The Aviator, the film The Aviator, and also couple that with a film called L.A. Confidential, you get a sense of what Hollywood was like back then. If you could roll a wheelbarrow of cash up to somebody, you could make a lot of things just go away.
Yeah,
kind of like early Las Vegas years. A lot of people are out there in the desert, even today.
Yeah, there's no, the sheriff is in town, and he's also in my pocket. So, watch your ass.
The same thing
like
happens
kind of
in Atlantic City. I mean, if you
Sure.
want to set up a shop on the boardwalk, you have to go in a back room, and they'll say, you'll go in front of the guy, and he'll say, "Oh, you want to pay? What's the word that's used? Privilege.
Some grift.
You want to pay privilege? Because it's." And he said, I had a friend that actually did that, and he paid him $3,000 to set up for a month and sell his leather goods. And the place had like a hole in the floor, and it was just like, I said, "Well, did you repair it?" No, he didn't put any money into that. No, but he said it was a privilege to do business. He made a lot of money apparently selling his goods there.
Yeah,
on the
I'm
Atlantic
sure.
Boardwalk.
And
Top
you can
money.
go to Venice Beach's boardwalk and say exactly the same thing.
The same thing.
Those places are little shacks, but those pizza parlors and those t-shirt shops, they friggin' rake that shit in, man.
You get the traffic.
Yep. Maybe not anymore. And God bless them if it comes back. Hopefully that's not all.
People go there to spend money, and they know.
I'm just saying, due to recent events over the last 3 years, some of that may have suffered a serious blow.
It has. Yeah, it has.
But back in the day, man, Coney Island, Atlantic City, Venice Boulevard, these were some hopping places all the way up through the 80s and 90s. And the 70s, by the way, I didn't find this out until many years later, confirming it when I moved to Los Angeles. But the depiction in Sin City of Bay City, right, of the Sin City universe,
right,
that is Frank Miller openly describing Los Angeles in the mid-70s, before Star Wars hit. LA was a dangerous place, just like it was back in the 30s and 40s.
Oh, I'm glad you said LA, because these are two: Escape from New York and Escape from LA, that we haven't talked about.
That's right.
That's true.
Or his other movie that he was in, Chinatown.
That's right. And Snake Plissken is the model.
Snake Plissken,
is the
Snake
model
Plissken.
for what is the name of that game franchise? Full Metal or something like that, or
Gear.
No, not way before that. Way before that, like early mid 90s.
Come on, someone in the chat figure it out.
Metal Gear Solid. That's it.
Metal Gear Solid. That's it.
Metal Gear Solid. Pliskin is the base design. He's the benchmark.
So
for
Stephen,
we've
hinted a little bit about it, but what do you think? I don't know how much you've studied this. I've kind of tried to ignore it, but after a while, you can't ignore it. What effect do you think that on the entertainment that we like has anime had? Has sort of the Eastern perspective? Of course, there's the Godzilla movies, but that's kind of separate.
Well, Japan comes at all of this from a completely different angle. Okay, it's I don't know what's going on over there. I mean, I have my tinfoil hat speculations as to what the nation of Japan actually is,
Mm-hmm.
because they've been isolated for so long that it is possible that some of these legendary lands that we talk about in Europe that are just legendary, like Avalon and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, these legendary lands like the Amazonians, like these legendary peoples, like the Spartans, right?
Yeah.
Japan may have been able to retain that level of geneticism in their nationality. And that may be the very reason why their ability to execute a plan and come through with something like anime, where they're like, it doesn't matter if you've already invented this story. We're going to show you how to invent it even better. And they do a superhero series like My Hero Academia, and
Right.
it's like you've never watched a superhero show before.
Right.
It's so good and so original that you're just
Mhm.
like, oh my God, American comics, like, dude, what have
And
you been doing for 50 years?
exactly. I think America should take up on it and do comics that way too. I mean,
Well,
they're
Well,
on
animations.
YouTube, you've been around long enough to see that the comic scene come into YouTube. Um, is the American comic dead, or is there hope for it?
no, the American comic will be dead when there are no more Western artists to draw. Okay.
Right.
As long as there are Western artists and money to be had, especially with the technologies of today, where we send all of this stuff via computer from your computer to another computer, and then you could print it out at home if you want to, and you could publish through multiple applications on the internet, publish hardcover books of your work. It's just a matter of money and finance and audience. So
Right.
for as long as that is, let's not forget that magazines like Heavy Metal, Image Comics, okay, these things came out of private press,
Hmm.
okay? Every single issue of Heavy Metal had at least one or two brand new artists, and they ran for years and years. And let's not forget Cracked, Mad Magazine,
Mad Magazine, yeah.
Yeah.
okay? These were legendary publications that came out of grassroots operations. So it's really just a matter of us going out and looking for it. Here's three guys, right,
That's
that
true.
are using an application to talk about this on live TV, right? That's what
Hmm.
we're doing right now.
Like we're doing
So
right now.
we're living in a high-tech grassroots environment, man. There's no excuse.
I remember, let's see, heavy metal. It came from the French magazine called Metal Hurlet.
That's
That's
right.
the idea. And then America version is heavy metal, and still,
Well, there was
it's,
Epic Comics,
it's
and
great.
Omni
Yeah,
used to publish at
Omni,
least some
right?
short stories in every
Hmm.
issue. So,
Exactly.
and that's my first experience to Mobius, right?
Right.
That's where, and the movie Heavy Metal, that cab driver sequence, that chick cab driver story in the movie Heavy Metal is
Right.
a direct inspiration to the movie Fifth Element.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's a
Yeah, I remember that.
parallel evolution. And the
Yeah.
original author read all of those comic books just like we did during the 70s
Yeah.
and 80s, that European sci-fi by Mobius and others like
Yeah.
him. So, yeah, it's like it was important stuff. And it all started from like young artists. All of those guys were young, freaky artists, just like us,
Right.
maybe
So
with more
Stephen,
drugs.
yeah. So what made you come to LA? Are you did you work in the film industry or any of
No, I
the
did not.
sort?
It was a series of happenstances. I was a theater person, and at the same time, I was working as a spec artist doing pen and ink for the 9X Yellow Pages.
Okay. Wow.
That was pretty much my last job in New York that I was doing, and I was able to catch a transfer to a facility in Anaheim, which is what financed and got me out to Los Angeles. And I was able to land here because my brother had moved out here just a few months prior, him and his wife. Had driven cross country and settled. So the March after their January arrival, I arrived in Los Angeles, transferring out of New York because it seemed like New York was just not having me anymore. My girlfriend started cheating on me, and then we broke up and we had to move out. And the theater thing that I was doing on the side dried up, and I lost that gig too, which was a all weekend long gig. And the 9X Yellow Pages started getting their artwork from a foreign distributor. And dropped their entire line of homebrewed artwork and photography. And that was pretty much it. 9X was going digital, and that was the end of the game. Wow. So I transferred out here. My brother started up a tile company, and I set tile up until about a year ago. I set tile in Los Angeles for some pretty high-end clients, and that's what I've been doing since 1998.
Nice.
When I moved out here.
Cool. Right on.
It's nice to have a skill.
Absolutely. Gainfully employed. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
Not so much these days, but the kind of the goofy, woofy, got everything all bonkers around here.
It sure did.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I have to ask this question, any plans to move out of the state?
Right now, my plans are to continue to feed myself to the end of next week, and we'll see what happens from there. At this point, with things the way they are, it's a month-to-month kind of lifestyle that I'm living right now.
San Francisco has really been turned on its head. I mean, I heard that I think if you identify as any kind of trans person in San Francisco, you can get for the next 18 months, if you apply for it, $1,600 a week.
Yeah, it's, I will ask and I will beg everyone to understand that the media is painting a certain picture. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't believe all the hype. Okay. I live in a part of Los Angeles called Koreatown, and the Koreans are not backing down anytime soon. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in some very isolated places that are very well covered by the media. And the rest of us are just like, can we just get back to normal? Can I just open up my restaurant again? Can we please stop screwing around with the global economy? Enough. We got children to feed, school books to buy, and a life to live. Okay. Please, can I just have my white wall tires? Can I just sit here and watch TV without being lectured?
What is your take on the results of the last election? How do you kind of view that, Stephen?
It's interesting. There's a lot of coverage out there. I mean,
because they were saying red wave, and the red wave didn't happen except in Florida.
Man, we are living in a Carney Barker universe right now.
Aren't we?
And that goes for both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
Both the red and the blue. It's like, hey guys, did anybody see that movie WALL-E? Is red the new blue? Is that what we're saying right now? I mean, we're living in this crazy cartoon Worldwide Wrestling Federation universe right now. It doesn't seem real.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the red and the blue. What happened to the white that goes in between the red and the blue?
That's what I say. If you're going to be any way, we need to grow the center. To hell with these two parties.
That's right.
Okay, let's go hard center, like epic.
Hard center.
Alt center. Let's call it alt center.
Alt center. It's funny. It happens to be white, huh?
Whatever. I don't know what it is. It's the aisle. Let's all move out of these chairs and stand in the aisle.
That's where the good popcorn is.
That's right.
In the aisle. Yeah.
And you're closer to the fire exits, just in case something goes wrong, too. You're already up. Okay. Enough already. This is nonsense, man. Stop screwing with my properties. Stop green lighting stuff. I mean, God, if I hear the word reimagine one more damn time, I'm going to lose it. So,
that's bad, don't you know?
I remember when Pluto was a planet. Okay, let's get things in perspective here. I remember when Pluto was a planet. All right, it's been downhill ever since the announcement that it's not.
Now it's a dog.
I think they upgraded it again to a planet, a small planet, but
What?
Didn't they
don't
say it was a
remember.
star? It's
Yeah.
a planet. Come on.
No, it wasn't a star ever.
They're all
No.
electrical anodes. Let's just
They
start off
changed their
there.
minds.
But now,
Yeah.
have you seen some of the pictures that have come back of Pluto?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
oh
it's right
man,
next to what is it?
it's a
God, what's the name
colorful
of
little planet. It's pretty neat. I read now.
Chiron?
Are you a sci-fi reader? I remember doing
I
a
am.
book report on, I believe, a sci-fi book called Planet X. I think that was it, and it was all
Yes.
about Pluto, I think.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
Oh, well, you're talking about just before they discovered the body we call Pluto, regardless of what that body is.
1930, I believe
It
it
was
was.
1929,
Oh,
right
was
around
it
the
20?
same time that Buck Rogers was happening on
Mhm.
screen. This thing
Mhm.
was discovered, but they had been noticing anomalies in the gravitational equations of ballistics of the solar system. So they
Mhm.
were speculating since the late 1800s when they discovered Uranus
That
or
there was a
Neptune. No, it
planet
was
that had
Neptune.
out there that was not discovered
Yeah,
yet,
they were
not
seeing
seen yet. Yeah.
palpitations in the algorithm of the solar
Mhm.
system, and it was speculated that there was another body out there that was actually causing these perturbations, I guess you could call it.
And they were right. They were right.
Well, when you hunt for something long enough, you'll eventually find it. But
Yeah. Now they're saying that there might be a Pluto, that there may be one on a strange orbit that's beyond Pluto, a 10th planet.
yeah, I was just talking about how there's certainly a lot of mythological evidence to that effect, and that goes for deep southeast Asia as well as heavy northwest. There's been conversation about this in mythology for the longest time. There's a lot of corroboration. You could seek all this evidence, tinfoil hat aside, but there's a lot of things to look at. Okay, Zachariah Sitchin and Eric von Doniket get into a lot of very interesting subjects, and they only did this. What was it like in the mid to late '60s? This conversation was first born.
Yeah, chariot of the gods.
That's right.
Was a big
Chariots of the Gods,
Right.
the 10th planet. Right.
Hey, metal movies
and
and brewskis. Hell yeah.
those
Hey,
are
Matt.
just excellent conversation points. But the reality is that there's an entire field of bodies out there in the Oort cloud that dwarf Pluto in a lot of senses. Okay. There are gigantic pieces of rock out there that we don't know, we barely know anything about. But they're all being mapped one at a time. There's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these things that are as big as some of Jupiter's moons out there. So, we haven't seen anything yet, man. We've barely scratched the surface of what's really out there. And that's just our solar system. You want to talk about exploring our oceans? We're going to spend a long time just exploring the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The mining opportunities, not to mention artifact opportunities, those may be crushed planets from before the moon became a satellite of Earth. It's the solar system is chock full of the most ambitious archaeological digs, and we haven't even gotten out there yet.
But it seems like we're committed to go back to the moon and then Mars here pretty soon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and if anybody could pull it off, man, it's going to be SpaceX. And they're going to make it like a reality show, by the way. Okay. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be celebrities. There's going to, and I mean, rock stars born.
And that's why I say the William Shatner thing is a must for just the eyes on the project, to have a celebrity like that and such an aged celebrity go up and come down unscathed, that showing the possibility that even a man in his 90s can go into space and come back safely.
It's all going to become more commonplace too, because rich people, they exist and they're going to get bored and vacations.
They probably paid William Shatner to do it. I mean,
that's true too.
It's like because that was gold for them. He could not have went up in like a Saturn rocket. The G forces would have been too much at his age.
Right.
Too risky. wouldn't have been near the experience he had. But yeah, just to hear him come back and just get in front of a microphone and talk about what it was being on the edge of space is just priceless to the project, and big news, really. I mean, who doesn't know William Shatner? TJ Hooker, by the way.
Oh yeah.
God bless his merry soul that he was
Curly
ambitious
hair.
enough to try to even go for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like him and Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy went the better route. Okay.
I would have asked him if he would have seen Gene Roddenberry's ashes up there, because he's, he and his wife and Major Barrett.
I guarantee you he thought about it.
And now Michelle Nichols is is up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Huh. That's something else. Wow.
But I remember Leonard Nimoy's scientific documentaries. What was it? In Search of.
In Search of. Yeah.
That was some epic
monster
stuff. That was some of the first UFO stories I ever heard on television.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that before. Sasquatch stories, Lost Worlds.
Now, don't you think we're behind those, Stephen? It's like Earth to the Moon. That came out in 2014, narrated by Tom Hanks. 17 hours of viewing. I watched it straight through, made myself sick, burned my retinas in my eyes. I couldn't put it down. I love that true storytelling. And the last man to step on the moon, he said, just as we were getting good at it, we quit. Right now, we should have.
I own a VHS copy of that box set.
Right now, we should have a moon base already on the moon, don't you think?
Agreed. Yeah.
There's a little article that very few people even know about, that in 1971, now this is right before everybody just stopped bothering going to the moon, the United Nations laid down a law internationally that no nation could either bring weapons or militarize the body we refer to as the moon. And that was pretty much the end of the space program. Right there in one document, they just stopped going. And that document is, ironically, coincidentally, however you want to look at it, predates by months the end of the moon ambition.
Huh.
And corporations will be allowed to change all of that because they're going to go up there without being a government. And the United Nations has it regulated that no government may. But private ownership, totally different story. And that's why we're going. That's why we're going.
Yeah. Belmont Press Comics says, you'll love cannabis and conspiracies if you like In Search of.
I have both in my body right now. Conspiracies and cannabis. I have both.
There you go. Amen.
Is it legal out there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
How about
I thought
recreational?
Every other block has at least one pharmacist.
Northern California is where more of it's grown than anywhere else in the world, I'm told.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have any issue with this. You know what? Law enforcement doesn't need to budget for that shit anymore. Okay. Agriculture is actually experiencing a grassroots, quite cool and quite groovy statement there, right there, experiencing a total rebirth. Okay.
Yeah.
There's an industry. There are multiple industries.
Now, how the hell does somebody your age even know the term groovy?
Well, I was born in 1969, and we were just talking about the B-52s. So, of course I know about it.
Yeah.
There was a whole revival in the 80s, to let the audience know. There was a huge revival of New Age thinking. There used to be New Age shops with New Age bookstores opening up.
I remember
this was a thing in the early 90s.
Now, we have to mention Stanley Kubrick.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
2001.
We can't leave him out.
Right.
Yep. He actually, in Clockwork Orange, predicted the skinhead movement by about a decade.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, he did.
Well, give credit to the author, but Stanley
yeah.
Kubrick has a way of superimposing any author's work. Just tell that to Stephen King, because The Shining is not the book.
Right.
That's a Stanley Kubrick picture. Sorry, Stephen, but
Right.
that's the truth.
You know, one thing that was big in the 70s was like things like Taipan, or they were, which I know that came out in the 80s, I believe, but your maxi series on TV or mini series on TV, that was a big thing.
Right.
Salem's Lot was released like that.
Right. It was released like that. We also had an epic series that really changed the landscape called Roots.
Roots,
right?
Alex Haley's Roots.
Yep.
What is your name?
Well, that was no joke, man. The country stopped what they were doing and watched that show.
Yeah.
Because there was no VHS of it.
Right.
Okay. This was playing live practically. There was one broadcast. Okay.
And it went up through the generations. That was something different, up to like the 20s and their struggles, throughout it. Yeah, it was quite the thing back in the day.
Yeah, long format television was just becoming a reality during that time period. That was when the 70s gave birth to the 80s.
Now, you mentioned a word right there, reality. Reality TV has really changed the landscape.
Yeah, right.
Well, because we also got a brand of artificialized reality TV, which started with the Blair Witch Project. That found footage thing has become a total disaster to cinematography, to acting, to set design, to story writing. Most of the shows that are written nowadays are using the reality show bullet point screenplay model.
I have some Japanese movies that
Let's
are just
welcome
like that,
Shadowhawk.
and they're horrible.
Hey, Shadowhawk.
Hey, Shadow.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good, man.
Pretty good. I hear you're feeling pretty good tonight, huh?
I was making a menace of myself in the chat.
I noticed that.
Well, I'm glad someone was.
Sorry, guys.
Toying the idea movie 2001 Resurrect Dead on Planet Jupiter. Interesting.
Oh, bro, I'm so disappointed. I was all fired up. My wife and I had the night alone tonight. My daughter was spending the night at her friend's house. And then the wife gets home and she's like, I'm going to do laundry. I'm like, no, but you're going to leave me alone? Okay, fine. Whatever. So then I found you guys streaming. I'm like, well, shit, I got to talk to somebody.
If you caught the 4 o'clock Shadow, he had different plans to do with the wife.
Shadowhawk, you better keep yourself available, because when that laundry is done, she's going to turn around and just be like, wait a second, I thought we were going to have a good night tonight.
Bro,
you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it'll be your fault.
I am always available for mama.
There you go. Shadowhawk and the Lady Hawk.
Duracell, the copper top battery.
But Shadowhawk, you were talking in the chat, whatchamacallit, that whole wannabe hippies thing that came out of like Rome.
Oh, dude, do you remember they tried to
Rome,
do
Georgia, and Athens, Georgia, and stuff like that? Yeah.
And they tried to do like a second Woodstock, and it was just fucking so lame.
Yeah, but what it did do was reintroduce us all to the subject matter and to the literature too. I mean, I never would have discovered Jack Kerouac if it wasn't for that time period. I never would have read any of his books. I wouldn't have read the Kool-Aid novels.
Yeah,
and
but
we would never have gotten, what was it, Tom Robbins?
It gave a whole nother generation of young people a reason to not take showers and let their fucking armpit hair grow.
Well, yeah, we can't all be perfect.
Jesus Christ, man.
And we haven't even...
I'm sorry. I like the fashion, I like the bell bottoms and the tie dyes and the butterfly shirts on the girls.
I like the adventure of it, because it kind of loosened everybody up a little bit.
The freaking patchouli, man, that shit.
I actually blame Elvis Presley for that.
Horrible.
When Elvis came on the scene, it was like bam, and then. we got the 60s. I mean, which was a slow roll.
It was all Elvis's fault, Rex? Wait a minute.
Pretty much.
Let's
Pretty
back
much.
up a
I mean,
minute.
Blame Elvis.
he
Great.
ignited.
Wow.
He ignited. He ignited something in the youth,
Oh, mama.
that just
I
kept
didn't know it was all my fault. Oh,
All right, everyone at once.
oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think you can trace it back to that.
It was all Elvis's fault.
No, that's totally insane. Okay,
Don't
that's completely freaking nuts.
Riff-raff.
No, it was the new age, man. The Korean War had ended, and Elvis Presley was attached more to the post World War II and Korean War years than anybody else.
Had actually
so when anything new came out, it was a generational thing.
You know, he started off in the 50s. He was fairly wholesome, except for the whole, shaking his hips and all that shit.
Yeah, and let's not forget that this was birthed out of the age of the beatnik film and the beatnik movement that was starting up long before the Beatles showed up.
The jazz.
Yeah, the beatniks were first. Yeah.
They were.
Mamas and the Papas and
what was that Marlon Brando picture that with the biker gangs?
Rebel Without a Cause.
That Rebel Without a Cause was another one, but
there was another one. But West Side Story.
Oh, West
Side
Story.
That was another one too.
No, that was
Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin and was Marlon Brando. They invaded a small town. They were on motorcycles.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
What's the name of that movie? I forget.
It's not A Streetcar Called Desire, right? No.
Somebody
that's another one. That's just another one.
That's another one. Yeah, method
acting. There was a lot of this kind of.
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Was it?
I think so.
I gotta look it up now, you guys.
Yeah.
My brain is totally stream smart anyway. So.
Yeah, all that stuff is I used to know all this. I did at some point.
It's in there somewhere.
It skips my memory.
You never quite lose it.
What is patchouli? I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, dude, that's that hippie shit.
The Wild Ones.
Oh,
1953.
The Wild Ones. You're right.
I don't know what it's made out of, but it's like super stinky, and it's like
ew.
It's like it's supposed to be like cologne or something.
And that wasn't the end of it, Stephen. As
it's
far as the
like
biker gang movies,
man, it's so powerful.
Like incense, right? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but it's but the hippies used to use it because that way, if you don't take a shower for a week, nobody smells your BO.
It smells worse if it's
dude.
Well, that's when chicks started burning sandalwood, man. And potpourri became a whole thing, man. Let's buy some cinnamon sticks and put them in a jar, baby.
Well, why do you think the French invented perfume back in the 1400s and cologne and all that shit? They didn't want to take a bath, so they just
lemongrass goodness.
When people got themselves all soaking wet back then, they somehow became retarded and went out in the cold and just died from having wet hair. I mean, what's right?
They didn't know to dry their hair before they
Who knows what the deal was? Maybe they were just lazy. They just poured perfume on their body.
To try myself.
Did they just not have towels? I mean, maybe they just didn't have towels.
What's a towel, man? What's that?
I don't know, man.
Clothes,
hey, maybe that's what Douglas Adams was joking about, that the man with a towel has nothing to fear.
Yeah, you always take your towel, dude.
That's right.
Take your towel with you.
Very important.
This is clean. This is this is how you go off the rails, kids. You go off the rails like this. This is the way you do it. It's screech, tires flying off the car, hubcaps going up in the air. Woo!
Right.
Oh,
damn. The 60s, baby.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
What's crazy is we're living in an age right now where there's this whole other movement that's kind of happening post our consent, right? Especially us single guys out in the world, we're not really attached to what's going on right now. We're just kind of like wait, what are you doing? Right? Like, with all the media and the rainbows and the unicorns and the snippety snip and God knows what else, right?
Launch him off the trebuchet now, please.
I spoke to a guy that lived through the primary point in the 60s, right? He was a young man when it started, and by the time it ended, he was a young producer in Hollywood working on Hollywood movies. This guy that I know.
Steven Spielberg, right?
Well, no, this was before Spielberg was even out of high school. Okay, this guy was partying, right, in the hippie Hollywood, and he said that most of the hippies in Hollywood were totally full of shit. They were all lying through their teeth. They were buying. They were like, "How do I get laid? I buy a turtleneck and get some bell bottoms. Gotcha, on it. I'll see you tomorrow." Right, and that was it.
Producer. Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped buying a Mercedes Benz and they bought themselves a Beetle.
Dude, right? You learn how to play three chords on an acoustic guitar.
Exactly.
And you carry around a copy of Kerouac in your back pocket. And you're getting laid all fucking day.
I bring this up primarily so that you see the glimmer of hope in what's going on in Hollywood right now. If history repeats itself, I could bet you that 75% of the people in media right now don't believe what they're saying. They're just surviving through this.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I mean, I think that's been true forever, though, right?
Oh, of course it has. The Roman Empire, French court.
Yeah, these people
Christendom.
They're just fucking telling you, you know, whatever they think that you want to hear.
Right, because they have masters too, right? Let's remember, right? They get paid by the same people that we're afraid of, right? Or that we're against. You know, they just can't afford to be against them.
Right, exactly. Because they're you know, that's where all their bread and butter comes from. They're
locked in.
Dude, okay. The average congressman or whatever makes $174,000 a year or something. How is it that they all become millionaires within a couple of years? I mean, everyone, AOC is a fucking millionaire already.
Donors.
What the
fuck? See, rub palms here, more money. We'll see what you can do with my corporation.
Yeah, like that dude that just went, the dude that just fucking raised like 80-some million and then donated it all to the Democrat Party and went bankrupt. The crypto guy.
Oh yeah.
The guy from the Bahamas. Yeah.
Yeah. What was his name? Anybody got his name? I forget.
Yeah, and his mom just happens to be involved with the world fucking fiduciary something or another. I don't fucking know. It's ridiculous.
Right. Huh.
They're not gonna do anything to him.
Of course not.
Yeah, whatever, man. You know,
he's gonna walk off scot-free, man.
Politics get really silly.
Well, my brother.
But he took fucking thousands of people's money, man.
And he did. He needs to be punished.
Yeah, he's gonna walk away, man. Nothing's gonna happen.
That's wrong.
You know who also took millions and millions of dollars of people's money? Amazon, when they created Rings of Power, and that's not even a person.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's not even a person. That is a non-organic, non-natural person. That corporation doesn't even officially attach itself to any human beings. We can talk about, you know, what's his face, Bezos and all these other guys, but the truth of the matter is that they can wipe their hands clean with a wet towel and just walk away.
Here comes that towel again.
Yep, there's that towel again.
Man, towels become very important in the universe.
They are. Carry one with you at all times. You may need it.
Darn tootin'.
That's
an hour and 20 minutes in, kids.
Woo! Man, it's like 20 degrees outside here.
It's been like a cold freaking season, man. I swear.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting LA to be pretty damn wet. I expect heavy rains throughout the winter in Los Angeles.
This is what
There's something about the vibe of it.
Yeah. And Thanksgiving has been getting expensive for a lot of people. I heard on the news people are going to order pizza instead of getting a turkey, which I can't blame them because turkeys are astronomically very expensive.
Bro, You didn't
Well,
hear, did you? My
Okay.
wife yesterday, she called me while me and Rex we were talking after the stream, and
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm standing in front of the turkey freezer, and I got a
Wow.
16, almost 17-pound turkey in my hand." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like,
Mhm.
"It's $8.71." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Is it too big?"
No brainer. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Get that
"No,
thing.
fuck no, grab that. Grab another one if they got."
871. You sure it wasn't 871 a pound?
No, dude,
Wow.
$8.71 for
Really?
the whole.
Buy it
Wow.
Yeah,
early.
You
Yeah.
lucked out. Oh,
we
God
must
bless
have
you.
had like a plethora of turkeys up here or something, man. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
because
great.
nationwide they said that it was
It
going
was
up.
it was cheaper than chicken because we were
Oh,
just
yeah.
gonna do like a roaster chicken, instead of a turkey.
Sorry, I had
Right.
to
And
step away and let Abby out. Nature called. But
That's
while I
yeah,
fine.
was
that's why the
taking
wife
a
called
break,
me. She was like, "Hey, I'm like,
Living
oh
Pie
no,
wants to
hell
know
no."
where that is. I think Indiana, right?
Yep,
In
yep,
Indiana. Yep. It's in
while
yep.
while I
Indiana.
was taking a
Wow.
break, I was thinking about
Northwest Indiana.
Northwest Indiana, where the cheaper turkeys are.
Stephen. I
I
think one
suppose.
thing we haven't talked about in sci-fi is and just entertainment in general. There was a generation like
Hey, maybe
uh,
I can make some money
even on
shipping
Twitter
turkey.
recently. Rod Serling's
Maybe.
own daughter is on Twitter, and she said some testimony out of her father that through Twilight Zone and Night Gallery and stuff, he was working through his own horrors of war because he was an ex-military man. I think that had a
yeah,
profound effect on writers when they saw the horrors of war and the worst side of man. They could really write the moral
yeah.
message. Um, Not everyone. I don't know that Gene Roddenberry was a military guy, but
Right.
uh,
No, it didn't
I
matter.
really
It
think
didn't
that
matter. We just went through a world war, okay, and it didn't matter if you were in the ranks of some military
Yeah,
theater of operations. It was
no,
irrelevant. The
and Vietnam
world
was
was
Vietnam
in
was
war.
the world
Korea,
Gene
was in
Roddenberry got
peril.
to write in
I mean,
sci-fi in loose terms. You couldn't criticize the war, but really
no
he
one knew
did
what was
within Star
coming the
Trek.
next day.
Right.
I can't
yeah,
imagine. We've never been in that situation. Not myself anyway.
no, no,
Right.
I'm
not
sticking.
bombs going off. We've never
No,
experienced like
I
a
mean
Lebanon
we've been
kind of
in
reality
Vietnam. We've been, but it's always been some
somewhere
foreign land.
else.
And
Yeah, we've
Somewhere
the
never
away
been
from.
actually been in jeopardy.
and the
Yeah,
and
and
the
let's not
Right.
forget that that's where Tolkien came from. Okay, there was
Exactly.
European war before World War II, and there was World War One, and look what it gave birth to. Okay, the entire fantasy movement, the entire
Hmm.
space opera movement, all
Yeah.
of that came from there. Okay, all the
Oh yeah.
detective novels.
Science
We got a
fiction. I
rebirth of
mean, science
characters
fiction got a
like
kick
out of a
in the ass.
western.
yeah, out of the it was yeah, he
Out of
kind of
the
had to sell
out of
Star
the
Trek
horrors
as a
of
western at
war,
first to
really.
get
I
it
mean,
produced. And it's
Yeah.
wild that they actually did two pilots. That was unheard of to do two pilots
Yeah.
at the time. Usually you did a pilot, if it was rejected, it was dead on arrival, but they actually, commissioned another pilot be made, and we got at least, 3 years of Star Trek, I guess.
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Three seasons.
Yeah, and you think about the origin of the Star Trek universe. I mean, in universe, the
Hmm.
story is that we blew ourselves up.
The
Wow.
eugenics war.
That we had this crazy war with
Hmm.
superpowered individuals that were made from some genetics future that we haven't even entered yet. And that
Con!
gave birth to the
Rapid
Star
God.
fire.
Trek universe. This was the beginning of the apocalyptic future that
Wow.
cinema and television really embraced. We got
Right.
zombie movies out of that structure. We got Star Trek out of that structure. Heck, Battlestar Galactica is loosely based on an apocalyptic robot future.
Right.
And
Huh.
Dune is the same way. The robots
Yeah.
took over, and it took us centuries and centuries to get out from underneath them.
Yeah,
And that's the Dune universe.
it was pre-Borg on
Dune
Star Trek.
is more about I think the drugs than anything.
It's about the
Well, no,
spice,
that's
right?
you're talking
Yeah.
about the primary storyline of Dune. Yes, you're
Yeah,
absolutely correct. It was
It's
more
all
about
about
the
the
body
spice.
and the mind.
Find
But
some
Yeah.
more spice.
That
So we get
universe
high.
was birthed out of a Terminator style future.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the
Well, they
robots
have all
took over.
the what do they call them? The mentats and shit, and the
That's
people that
right,
are
because we
created in the
stopped
tank.
using
Yeah,
AI and calculating devices.
yeah.
Everything
They
had to
create.
be inside the mind.
Yeah, but the computers were the mentats.
Hmm.
That was like your equivalent of your fucking desktop. You
Yep.
would have one of
Right.
them.
And
Yeah,
like even
it's
in
fucking
an
creepy,
element
man.
of that in Logan's Run where the fish stopped coming, so I started freezing people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that
well,
AI. Logan's Run. By the way, if
Is
you're ever looking for some interesting sci-fi to read, you may think you know Logan's Run from that movie with Michael York, but
yeah, but no,
the
read the book.
books are a
Yeah.
yeah.
totally different space of reality, man, and they're really
Hmm.
good. It's not that hippy dippy stuff either. Gets into some serious territory about um, out of control dystopian society. It's like
Right.
decadence meeting
Hmm.
up with new thinking, meeting up with police states, and nobody knows where it's going. It's a
Seems like
bizarre
it's
future in that book.
Well,
today, right now.
You
Hmm.
know,
there was a
the
lot of that in
60s
the
were all
late
about
60s, early 70s sci-fi. I read a lot of it.
questioning and not trusting the government that you're being governed
Right.
by.
That's right.
1984 and
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
the first
And what was
rumblings of
the oh shit,
not
what's
being
the
content within your own society
other
just
Right.
big
tried to
one?
make
It
it
was
better.
all with taking the red pills and the blue pills. It was
What, the Matrix and stuff like that?
no. It was a sci-fi story from back in the day, way before the Matrix. But
Alice
it
in
was
Wonderland. One pill
no,
to make you
I'm trying
smaller,
to think of the name
pill
of
to
it.
make you.
No,
But
there
it
was
was
the 60s gave birth to a lot of very
it was
interesting politically driven, philosophically driven science
mhm.
fiction
It's the
discussion.
White Rabbit,
Well,
right?
and then also the drug infusion, like Cary Grant, he was a big LSD user, and he came out with that, and that was around the time he retired. And
That's right.
he
Oh,
said,
dude,
And
I
there's a
want
story.
people to remember me the way I
I'll tell you what, in
was.
the 80s and early 90s, man, I had a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
me
then the
too. Me too,
disaster
man.
movies. We haven't
Okay,
talked about
getting
the.
back to Cary Grant. Getting back to Cary Grant.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Gotcha.
if you heard about. I don't know if you heard of Shep Gordon. He's a manager, Alice Cooper's manager. He has a house. He used to live next door to Cary Grant, and Cary
Really?
Grant was depressed. He had a cat. Cary Grant had a cat, right? He would have a cat on his leash. He was walking the cat around, and so Cary Grant would not talk to anyone. But Shep Gordon introduced himself. They became fast friends. He got him out of the. Cary Grant got he Shep got Cary Grant out of a depression for a while, and he's just a little more happier ever
Oh
since he
no
left
shit,
the
dude.
film.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah,
he'd have a
He's
lot of
walking a cat on a leash.
actor
unleashed.
friends
Yeah,
pass
What the
away,
fuck?
and it did affect him. Yeah.
That's wild.
there's a documentary called Shep Gordon by Mike Myers. Check out. Yeah,
Dude, if I put a leash on my
yeah.
cat, he would just sit down and be like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Like, what are you doing?
Like,
Looking at
what? What
you,
is this?
dirty look. What is this shit?
Do you
Yeah.
think, Stephen, that the 60s was our way of coming to grip with war? Because you
Yeah.
did have even the Star Trek, the original Star Trek, had Nazi stories
Well,
about the Nazis.
I think it was coming to grips with a hell of a lot more than just war.
Yeah.
Okay, the 60s was
Yeah.
coming to grips with the atomic
Yeah,
age, the
yeah.
Cold
There was a
War,
lot going on, man.
the freedom.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember this idea of liberty and freedom to the masses and everybody voting, right, and owning property for the first time, going to school, going to college, having a
Yeah.
job, all of a car, airplanes. Cruise liners, spaceships,
Mhm.
satellites, telecommunications, television. That's what we were
Disney,
really coming to grips with all the sci-fi of the
Disneyland, Disney
60s.
World.
Sputnik.
Fucking
Sputnik.
suddenly they were, all kinds
You
of
know, we were dealing with a hell of a lot more than the
crazy.
Tolkien generation. You know,
Yeah.
Seven Pillars and Lawrence of Arabia, those guys were dealing with physical trauma of the industrial age.
And in
We
a
were
way,
dealing with cosmic levels that only H.P. Lovecraft was exploring. okay, our size in the universe because we literally had a device out in space photographing the planet. I mean, we were dealing with some serious stuff, man.
Puppy. Aw.
Hey,
Daisy.
What's
Daisy.
that? What's Daisy, right? Ah, it's a
Daisy.
cute dog.
Daisy.
That's what
Hello.
made science
Daisy.
fiction so insane.
She's
Oh,
studiously
Daisy.
ignoring us.
Yep.
As long as you rub my
There
behind.
she
Yeah.
is. Oh,
Now
there
don't
she is.
stop
Aw,
rubbing.
adorable.
That's
There
right.
she is. Oh,
That's a what kind of dog is that? I forget. That's a
Well, it's
she's a,
kind of like the
she's a
way you
lab
come
mix.
to grips with
lab mix, right?
technology, right? I mean, it changes so quickly now.
Yeah.
How do you come to grips with the ever-changing pace of technology because it's becoming faster and faster?
No, dude, you can't. You can't even keep up
No,
with it. I
you
mean,
can't.
but
How
you buy
fast
it.
can you want to go? You know,
You
let's
buy a
do that.
Well,
computer, you take it home, set it up, turn it on. It's already obsolete.
Hey, Tank.
Before you
All right.
even
Tank Ferret in the
your
house.
warranty
Damn it.
hasn't even started yet,
Scalawags.
and you're already
you
like
know,
fucking like,
it kind of
oh,
has plateaued quite a bit. I mean,
Mm.
currently, as we're speaking, I can guarantee you that each one of us is streaming right now through the strangest family of devices. Some of you guys have full desktops, some of you guys have professional microphones, and some of us, like me, this is my cell phone, and it's not even
yeah,
hooked up
dude,
to a
A
network.
laptop.
It's just streaming
Yeah.
through a Wi-Fi. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
dude, I'm on my phone as well.
You know, this is a very strange world we're living in. The phone
It is.
I bought like 5 years ago, and it's perfectly capable with software updates to do what I'm doing right now.
That's
So,
Dude,
great.
you wouldn't
it
even believe
plateaued about five
what I
years
paid
ago,
for
and it's
my
more
phone.
network stuff.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's slowing down. You know, when
Are
you
you
know,
running an Apple, an iPhone, or are
yeah,
you?
I'm running this on an iPhone.
Do you think we're
Oh, dude,
regressing
I'm on like a
in a way,
$100
Stephen?
Android.
$100 Android phone? Really?
I think
Wow.
we are regressing, Rex. I think
Hmm.
that there's a level of techno comfortability and security that we're experiencing
Yeah.
right now where we're relaxing in much the same way that the age of enlightenment was starting to
Good
relax.
to know.
Yeah.
Tank.
Like we have it on cruise control.
Yeah, and I don't know as a historian, because I go deep when when I think about these things. I've been reading literature backwards, all the way into the past. Every
Reading
book that I
literature
read.
backwards like manga?
No, no,
Or like anime?
I'm reading it
He
legitimately, of
he
course. But I
starts at
mean,
the end, and
Oh, and
I
it goes
keep
back.
moving further and further into the past. The
Yeah.
literature I'm reading just keeps going further and further into, and the
Let
further I
me take a
go,
guess. He's made it up to Spring Hill Jack.
Oh,
that's a
Spring
while
Hill
back,
Jack.
man.
It is
Okay,
a while back. Yeah.
Wow.
the Fortean books, I have all those in my head already. I've already read
Victorian. Yeah.
the Fortean, the
I'm up
Charles
to
Fort,
Victorian age.
all the adventure stories from the late 1800s, around the time of Frankenstein and Dracula. I've read almost all of those.
I have yet to read the Scarlet Pimpernel. Have you
dude,
read that?
have you read the
That's great
Elric
stuff, man.
series
Well,
from
war-
Michael
Okay.
Moorcock?
The which series?
Elric,
Elric.
When is
Elric,
this from?
Elric
Oh,
and
it's
Melnibone from Michael Moorcock. It was
Michael
late
Moorcock, yeah.
60s, early 70s, I think.
I think I remember Conan introducing Elric in a Barry Windsor
Yeah,
Smith
it
Yeah,
issue of
was.
Conan.
yeah, they had a
Like
Number
crossover.
14?
13, issue
Issue
13
13?
or 14. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's based on the uh, eternal hero, the guy that he's always striving to save the universe, but when he does save the
I Am
universe,
Legend.
and he thinks he's gonna
No.
finally get his reward,
That's Matheson, I think.
That's
he
Matheson. That's,
he
yeah.
suddenly wakes back up at the beginning of his quest again and has to start all over.
Hawkmoon. It's a Hawkmoon, right?
It,
Hawkmoon?
somebody did a classic poem about it. Roland with the trumpet.
Okay.
The
Wow,
Uh,
we're getting deep.
60s, the
dude,
60s
man,
science fiction, all of it is a very different beast. There's a
is.
level of pretension in the post-atomic age of science fiction,
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
stopped being inventive because half of what they were writing was allegedly proven by science. And at that point, it's not as exploratory as some of the
Right.
stuff prior to the atomic age,
Well,
where they really just didn't know.
If
at
you
all.
think about like the
this
Tarzan
is all more
mythos, it's like
fantasy. It wasn't
deep,
really
darkest
sci-fi.
Africa.
It
You know,
was-
how many places except the deep sea or space are there left to explore? You know,
The whole entire universe, because science really doesn't know what they're talking about. If I read one more article about the crisis of modern physics, I swear to God, I'm going to slap somebody in the face, man. We really don't know. Okay.
And-
Every
and
time a
right
satellite goes out there, they prove that we really just don't know.
But I'm right, Stephen. It's like deepest, darkest Africa. There's a lot of early film that deals with Africa because it was unexplored.
There's still the oceans that
there are
still need
huge
exploring.
areas of the Amazon.
Yeah.
There are huge areas of even the Pacific Northwest.
We know more.
That
still
allegedly.
We know more about the
Allegedly, we
moon
don't
than
know.
we do the under the sea. That's what.
That's true.
That's
You talk to some people living in northern Canada, okay? They can tell you flat out that we don't know squat about some of those tundra areas, okay? And the eastern part of Alaska, just forget about it, man.
Yeah,
just forget it.
There's miles and miles of territory.
Hundreds and hundreds of hectares. Forget about miles.
Well, that's the reality, but what is the perception? You know, overall, I mean, can you make a successful kind of like in deepest, darkest Canada, you know, story? I guess you could.
You can. It's called a Bigfoot story.
Like Wendigo. Wendigo.
Did you not see Graham Nolan's The Chenoo, dude? That was a great
story. Oh yeah, I have it.
Yeah, but the problem is that we live in such an enlightened age where anybody can open up a Google Earth and say what is and what isn't true. And the problem with that is, and this is where the backwards stepping starts to happen. This is what I got worried about with 60s, 70s, and 80s sci-fi. You can't have proof of science. You can't have science as a basis of your science fiction. That is a huge, gigantic mistake because we really don't know. Okay, there's more than enough evidence to suggest to me that there is a large Neanderthal-like species out there currently being called the Sasquatch that is a being out of legend. These may be the children of the children of the children of what we refer to as the giants. Okay, there's speculation that these things have horns.
The Nephilim, right? The Nephilim.
Whatever. We have 1,000 different names for them all over the earth.
Were they like half angels and half human or something? And
there's evidence to suggest that they may be able to psychically attack us, which is why they can't be seen.
Well, I mean, even the theory that they're interdimensional.
An Easter Island, I think. Yeah.
That too. They could live in cave systems that we don't know anything about, except the satellites know. I bet you the governments know. I bet you that they're in a kind of isolation with government assistance.
I was blown away recently that the UK barred this gentleman for espousing that all our government leaders they wouldn't let him come into the UK because he was espousing that a bunch of our leaders have been replaced by a reptilian race. And I'm like, really? You're going to bar him?
We don't need to go there.
Was it Lorenzo?
Right?
Stephen wants to live a little bit longer. We won't go there.
Well, no, it's just that I'm not saying that. I'm saying it doesn't need to go off the deep end.
Right.
We don't need to go too far off the deep end for this to be outrageously extraordinary, the world that we're living in. We have deepest oceans where, just a few years ago, science discovered yet another creature they thought was completely extinct. But no, some deep diver just bumped into one.
Right.
This thing that we thought died with the dinosaurs. Nope, there's one right there in the ocean. We found a physically living animal that used to be a fossil.
I mean, there are so many species that do go extinct, but then there's some being found.
Somewhere hidden.
I mean, it was in Laos. They found like 10 different species of things that had never been discovered. One was like a spider the size of a dinner plate. We had never encountered anything like that before.
That's scary.
So there's species being eliminated, like the passenger pigeon or the dodo bird, but there's also new discoveries, especially in the rainforest, of things that we've never seen before.
Every day they're
every
discovering
day.
new shit.
Yeah. A new discovery.
But like we were talking about the other
new
night,
jellyfish all the time.
Like the coelacanth. They thought that thing was extinct for hundreds of years, and then like I think it was the 1930s or whatever, some dude brought one up alive in a net. With like, holy fuck!
Dude, it wasn't until the mid 1800s that they even thought the panda was a reality.
Yeah,
they thought it was a mythological creature from some some silk paintings in China. They were like, that thing either died a long time ago or it's completely fictitious.
Yeah,
the idea that they actually found a living panda,
kind of like the dragons. Yeah,
that's why all of these legendary images cannot be taken as just fiction. Okay, those things may have actually existed way back when, and not that long ago, 500-600 years ago.
You don't know, man. I mean, there might. We may have had dragons and unicorns and.
I believe the reason that we got the old Greek legend of the Cyclops was the mammoth skulls. That if you look at a mammoth skull or like an elephant skull, it has a giant cavity in the middle of the skull for the trunk. And they just assumed that it was a giant's head that had a giant eye.
Yeah.
And that was based on archaeology, a myth sprung up from something that was dug up out of the earth.
Yeah, and it absolutely cannot be overlooked that these stories of legend, of legendary creatures, have passed through multiple translations, through multiple dead languages before they even became the word Cyclops.
Metal Movie says mountain gorilla was a cryptid until 1900. That's
right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it was only a legend.
Yeah, and we're even seeing like cryptids within the CG and in the comics. You know,
we are
656.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of good ones.
Hey, you want to know what the most famous cryptid is?
Hockey. How you doing?
Ever to come to Scream?
Bye, Hockey.
That's Chewbacca. Chewbacca is the most readily recognized cryptid on screen. He is a Wookiee. That's what a Sasquatch looks like.
You've been waiting all night to do that.
Help
me, Chewbacca. You're my only hope.
The Aqua Teen where he's like, I'm a werewolf. He's like, you're no werewolf. You're a Sasquatch.
Okay, let's change the subject before he does that again.
All right,
Hey, Eric Boyd, man.
I didn't know we were getting into that.
Well, I would say that if some of these shows and movies have been a ripple in the pond, I would think that Star Wars was the big boulder that was dropped in the water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the one that caused all the ripple.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, movies were heating up with things like Jaws, and then I remember while Star Wars was out, you also got Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what? Close Encounters of the Third Kind is more revolutionary than Star Wars, because Star Wars is basically Buck Rogers done 1977 style.
Yeah.
And it's Flash Gordon more readily.
Basically,
but,
yeah.
Close Encounters was an entirely different animal. Okay, those last shots at the end of that movie of those aliens done with state-of-the-art technology and filmmaking, that was some crazy stuff. People fainted in the theater because some people had actually seen those creatures in real life, and there they were on screen. So that's groundbreaking. And a movie like Jaws that took a real creature and turned it into a mythological beast.
Dude.
Cinema was changing a lot of rules.
I remember being on the beach in 1978. I was on the East Coast, dude. Like 10 years old, maybe.
Born and raised on Long Island, man.
And they wouldn't let you swim on the beach with a mask on. I had a diving mask, and I jumped in the water and was swimming around, and fucking the lifeguard fucking yelled at me and pulled me out of the water. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just swimming, dude. What's your problem?" Like, you can't be wearing a mask in here. I'm like, "Why the fuck not?" He's like, "Cause you won't see the sharks if they swim up next to you." I was like, "Okay, Well,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just getting
dude.
I'm just getting out of the water now. Fuck
Fire
this.
in the
Right.
Sky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fire
that's a
in
He
the
good
Sky.
saved your life. Yeah, I remember going to see Fire in the Sky.
That's a
Uh,
good movie. Wow.
yeah, we haven't
That's
mentioned the X.
supposedly
We
based
haven't
on a
mentioned
true
the X
story. That's
Files.
that
Yes,
Barney and
yeah,
Barney and Betty or whatever the fuck
Yeah,
their
Betty
names
and
are.
Barney Hill.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
Duckies.
Mhm.
Yeah,
that
the
shit's
guy who played
messed
Darth
up.
Vader actually did a biography. Did a
Mm.
he
whatchamacallit, a film
scared Carol.
based on that story.
Well,
Hey,
you know, and that was the
Hammerglitch,
other thing I was
welcome.
gonna say too. It's funny, after Star Wars and then Close Encounters, like within what was it, 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden E.T. came out.
Yeah, another one.
I mean, that was another huge alien.
Yeah,
And then, I
that's
mean,
well,
but there was and of course, we had Alien.
That's right.
right.
I mean,
Yep.
it
Yep.
just
Enemy
started
Mine.
pouring in.
Dr. X.
Oh,
And
dude, Enemy Mine was a great
Enemy
movie.
Mine was wonderful.
That
Yeah.
was good.
and
Good
Alien
movie.
Nation as well. Also
Alien
another one.
Nation was
Alien
a trip.
Nation was.
But we've
Yeah,
not
They even
mentioned,
made a TV show. You guys
yeah,
remember the?
it was good.
Sure.
and
Yeah.
we haven't mentioned the X Files, which was extremely popular.
See, yeah, again, this is where
Oh yeah,
television
X-Files. Yeah.
starts to believe its own nonsense,
Right.
and it almost starts LARPing at the camera
That's
at
cool.
that point, where it's no
Mhm.
longer talking about the material, it's talking about what it thinks we know about the material, which is a
Right.
totally
Right.
different thing. Before
Mhm.
that, Close Encounters and these other alien movies
Oh,
were
wow.
like, we don't know what you guys know. Let's explore it, right? Ghost stories like Poltergeist and stuff like that, totally
Yeah.
different. But once it hit the 90s, it became a totally different animal.
Mm.
Right.
Exorcist is totally different than any of the nonsense going on right now with horror about
Right.
the devil and about
Right.
possession.
Yeah, we have not really talked about sci-fi
Yeah.
horror, but a lot of horror is sci-fi horror.
Sure.
Yeah. True.
Mhm.
Well,
Very,
yeah,
very
demonology, anytime they
Wow.
Well, I mean, there were generally, what is it, Dragon's Tooth or in Space 1999 scared the hell out of me with the tentacled one-eyed monster that could take over your mind
Right.
and then shove you in
Yeah.
its maw, and
Yeah.
you would come out all acid, as basically as a cadaver covered
it's a
in
precursor to
cobwebs.
Alien. If I
Yeah.
understand
How long
correctly,
is that
the
minute?
producers of that episode worked on the 1979 Alien movie and brought that knowledge from that creature of how horrifying that creature was. So, yeah, it's
Wow.
all interconnected, man.
In the first season, there was a lot of horror. The episode where the guy drains all the energy,
It's 4 years.
and
Yeah.
actually goes to the reactor, and it's sort of burned his body and everything at the end of it, and he truly becomes a monstrous looking glowing eyed creature. That they
Yeah.
had some awesome horror episodes in the first season of Space 1999, and they also
Yeah.
explored different concepts like going through a black hole, or to
Sure.
another, perhaps, to
Dimension.
pop out on the other side of the universe. It was
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
interesting, really.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
a
like
little
wormholes.
it was a little highbrow, and I think the characters were a little detached as far as likability, for a lot of people, but it was a
Well,
good
yeah,
it was a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were cardboard cutouts because they were
Wow.
doing the adventure story, and they needed all the entire cast to be
Martin
less
Landau.
characterized.
Martin Landau, not only was he in Mission Impossible,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
but
show.
he was actually in the episode. It's a Western themed episode for Twilight Zone. He actually filmed the first episode, but it was the third released on TV. But he actually filmed the first Twilight Zone. We haven't talked about even we talked about astronauts of the 60s and some of the war and other things, but we haven't talked about really the spy craze. James Bond, the man from U.N.C.L.E., the girl from U.N.C.L.E.
Just real quickly before we leave it,
my man Flint.
You mentioned the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody who hasn't seen it should check out a series that happened right around the same time, but actually came under some real-time political pressure, including a whole pressure from the NSA and the CIA as well. A show called Dark Skies. that
Oh,
was
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an
I remember that
attempt
one.
to tell us what really happened from 1947 all the way up to 1993. And the last few
Mhm.
episodes included George Sr. Bush as a member of a
Oh, wow.
council taking over the Men in Black in the
Yeah.
series
Yeah.
in 1993. So
Yeah.
that show is what I would prefer to watch as opposed to X-Files, which was the bread and butter, peanut butter and jelly style
Called Dark Skies.
called Dark Skies.
I'll
That
have to.
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
season gets
I'll
into
have to
some
check that out.
serious stuff, like
Yeah.
mind control through a Beatles television program,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the aliens were going to hijack the Beatles signal
Oh,
to send
wow.
a
Yeah, I
message,
remember that.
and it was stopped by the Men in Black. Like that kind of crazy, attached to reality and actual dates, like really hardcore stuff. That's some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So and then yes, the spy genre.
Damn
Totally. Our Man Flint.
Oh,
Let's
Yeah,
not
dude.
even
that
talk
James
about James
Coburn movie.
Bond.
Oh,
Coburn.
that was a great movie. I
James
love that.
Coburn was
That's the
the
emphasis
shit,
for
man.
Austin Powers. That was
Yeah.
That's
it.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
That's right.
and there
Men
was
from
two of them.
Uncle,
From Uncle, yeah.
Yep.
Mission Impossible, of
Or
course.
Wild Wild West.
Yep, that's another one. Going and doing a steampunk
Oh,
long
the
before
the
steampunk was
original?
even a
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
Just Carol.
steampunk. Yeah.
Just Carol has an observation. I think the Men in Black are just alien insurance agents who show up after an incident and try to convince people not to sue the alien drivers.
You know what? I know you're just being funny, Carol, but you know what? Not too far from the truth, more than
Yeah,
likely.
exactly.
Right?
I was gonna say
They're more with
that's not
them.
too far off.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're more them than us. I can guarantee you
Mm.
that. Even if they
Yeah, they're
used to be
more on the
human.
alien side than
They
the human.
they
Yeah.
live a wonderful movie. They live.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
They
dude, that's
live.
a great
Yes. I love
movie.
that.
Yeah. That was a
Anyway,
true mind blower. Long before
Do you
Matrix was a
think
mind blower.
do you think like maybe the 10-minute fight scene in the alley went a little bit long?
oh
No,
no,
dude,
it's cool.
that
It's
was
funny.
fucking awesome.
It was great. I love that one.
That's
Omer
that's
Glitch
one of
says,
the best fight scenes ever. With Roddy Piper and that I forget what the black dude's name is. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he was
Lasted a lot longer than him.
Oh,
All
dude,
I
that
know
was
is I am Spartacus.
Omer Glitch has a point. Anyone watch the Artemis launch? Excitement of going back to the moon and beyond? Yeah, man, it'd be great. We got hey, Tank
No.
Ferret and welcome,
Dude,
Tank.
I missed the Artemis launch, but luckily NASA has a wonderful group of channels, so I started
Oh,
watching
cool.
like some of that stuff.
I'm sure there's some
Hello,
spectacular
how's
coverage
everybody
on YouTube. There's a bunch of different rocketry channels on
Oh,
YouTube
nice.
that have been covering a lot of this stuff.
When was that? Like earlier or something?
Well, a couple
Yeah, I've
days
been
ago.
hearing about it for about a month
Really?
or so now, and I'm
Oh,
glad
okay.
they finally got off the ground. Everybody got off the ground safe,
Wow.
of course.
To include one of my favorites, Scott Manley.
There you
Scott
go.
Manley.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah,
Cool.
that's one of the guys.
Yeah, I love that
Scott
guy, man.
It's cool.
Scott Manley.
That
That's a great fucking name.
is a great name for an astro
him.
hero.
Oh my god.
I found him because I like to play Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah.
And he started branching out from Kerbal Space Program into real space program stuff. And he's actually had several NASA engineers, flight experts, astronauts
Oh wow.
come on and hang out with him. And he usually gets them to try and play Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah, and there's another guy. Is it the Y
Wow.
program? But he's a German guy, and I know that he had just moved into to Florida because he finally was getting sponsored enough that he could move his whole family to Florida and permanently cover over YouTube and other channels the space program. He started off with SpaceX stuff, and he was doing a lot of work with the Texas launch site, where he was doing continuous coverage on their developments over there. Still is on YouTube, but I think it's YWAI. But he's a German guy. Him and his family are now in Florida. I'm sure he's got Artemis coverage as well. That's how I found Scott Manley, was through him.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, dude, I would love to check out that other channel. I'm way into that stuff.
He's got some great coverage, and of course he's got a Patreon, so he's got even deeper coverage as well.
Oh, dude, yeah. I've been thinking of relaunching a Patreon. I didn't know what to do the first time, and honestly, it was just a place where people could come help me out, get through some rough times. But
I need to look out. I need to actually get my Patreon going too. I mean, the times are getting rather tougher, and we all need money. And yeah, I get it, man. Definitely. Any support system does help.
Hey, with the Patreon system, you don't even need to get complicated. You just ask people to do a $1 donation towards your channel, and you send them an envelope full of stickers. And every month that they continue to participate at that $1 level, you send them photocopies, full color photocopies maybe of the artwork and stuff like that. And then you get a $5 level and a $10 level for more. It's not a big deal. It's not a hard thing to do. Apex, you're producing all the time, man, and you got stuff in the backlogs as well.
I do.
Posters even.
Yeah, I got mini comics, posters, ash cans. I've got.
You got plenty of content, Apex.
I do. A ton of it.
And all you got to do is put a camera behind your head and let people watch you draw, and you got a whole other level to a Patreon.
I didn't figure that out too. I don't wonder what kind of cameras are they actually.
You don't need to overthink it, man. You look at Makani Draws; he does it with a damn cell phone, and he's way up past 1,000 now. Makani Draws has been just holding it over his desk with like one of those silly adjustable tripods, and that's it. That's how he does his whole channel.
That's wild.
Normally, I just give it out for free like this.
On the interwebs. What are you working on?
This is the Scalpel Zero story, Apex Predator 0 to 12.
One of my namesake. There you go. Cool.
Yeah.
How about that? Looking forward to reading that book.
A word. We'll have to hook you up.
Definitely.
I'm going to sell it. I'm probably going to sell out a not direct to drive, but drive-through comics.
Okay.
For super cheap, whatever their price is, plus 97 cents.
Drive-through comics. That's somebody dropped out. Oh, is it Shadow? Oh, Shadow dropped out.
No, come back.
Come back,
Shadow.
May have been. Hey, who knows? His wife might have been done with the laundry.
I think his wife was done laundry, and they're getting a little intimate. So why not?
That's right.
What's up?
The reason why she had to do laundry was to get some clean sheets. You know what she's doing? She knows she's smart.
Sheets.
Yeah. Had to change the sheets on the bed. She's like, I'm not making love on that skanky bed. We gotta get some clean sheets in there, baby. I got laundry to do. So she was on it.
My YouTube channel. Good to know. I'm a glitch. Sometimes he takes that to get things on the air. Yeah.
We got fresh sheets. It's time to dirty them up.
Yeah.
That's right.
Put some sweat on them. Yeah.
Put some stank on.
Weston, that was your work we were just looking at?
Yes,
that's looking good, man. What's that all about?
It is a cyberpunk adventure that takes place in the jungle as a 10-year-old prototype is being put to the test against the field models that are just now coming out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of mechanical mech battle kind of stuff, power suits and stuff like that.
It is going to be jungle warfare at its finest in the year 2064.
Nice.
2264.
Wow. 2064.
Oh, 2064.
I just stuttered.
It's funny, all these time future type movies. I remember a Flash Gordon serial episode. They mentioned this is the year 1971 in the future. I'm like, what the fuck?
I would like to just say that Soylent Green is people.
I'm hoping
I think we know that. Yeah.
That I haven't made.
I'm
hoping that I haven't made the big mistake that most science fiction writers do, which is advance technology too fast, too early, and not enough in the long run.
Well, all you got to do is write some clever backstory. Like, there's a whole universe that came out of the steampunk. They came out of the cyberpunk guys. It's an early steampunk novel, and all they did to alter their universe, to create their entire universe of steampunk, was have the calculating device that was engineered back in the 1700s. It turns out his device, they were able to make it. And because of that, There was a revolution in calculation.
And Castle
engineering
Falkenstein
just went astronomical overnight.
Right? You're talking about Castle Falkenstein?
Captain Falkenstein.
No, this was this actually it covers a world where like America never formed because the 1700s like got over itself real damn fast, and Europe never let America go, right? The Babbitt calculating device was a reality in this universe. Babbitt's design was actually capable of being manufactured and executed as a calculating device, and physics just blew up in like 50 years.
That's
wild. They had a space age by 1900. They had an attempt at space age.
I look at the pre-transistor computers, the analog computers, and that's I'm like, dude, you could have invented that back in the time of Benjamin Franklin.
Yep, that's right. It may have actually existed back then. Just the guy never got off the ground, or he had an accident and the whole lab blew up and his wife just sold all of his shit. You know, who knows, right?
Yeah.
We've been through this dozens and dozens of times. The steam engine was a benchtop invention prototyped by Greeks during the Roman Empire. So it's like, multiple alternate realities could have sprung out of nowhere if half of these inventions didn't collapse because the guy just couldn't feed himself that week, or he caught a cold and the whole thing just fell apart and became nothing.
Yeah, there's Cat Infinity. The difference.
The difference, and thank you, Captain. Exactly.
Cat Infinity.
And it was just a metallurgy problem. They couldn't make the cogs that he was designing, these brush cogs, function without the metallurgy. But in this book, it creates a whole steampunk universe because they did. Somebody figured it out, spent just enough more money, and somebody figured out how to make his cogs. And all of a sudden, this whole language of computing, where it's like, we have 18.5 miles of gear working on the calculation right now, was dialogue in the book.
Wow.
They referred to these computers by gear length. And the more gears you had spinning in real time, the faster you could come to a fruition on an invention or a mathematical problem. And whole governments were run on gear length, they called it.
Gear length.
Like we talk about bandwidth and gigabytes. They were talking about gear length.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful little bit of math right there. I've been doing that with my son. My 10-year-old son, he's high functioning autistic, and he's a genius. Like the stuff that this kid invents. But we just recently talked about that to try to get him more interested in math, because he's having a hard time with math because he doesn't see the practical application. If it's not real, if it's not practical to him, then it goes right over his head.
Gear work is a great way to stop. You could get into long division that way. You can get into teeth count and calculations as to how to speed up engineering problems. That's a great method because it's real. That's why the analog clock should be in schools.
Yes.
It's teaching about the rotation of the earth and the movements of the sun with arms.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Yeah, no, he made a little turntable out of an old, like one of those cup of noodles, like soup things. He like fished it out of the garbage. He washed it out. He put a crank and handle with the gear and the teeth lined up with the other gear that he made on the inside. And it had a little, he took like one of his action figures and put it on top and made a little turntable where you turn the crank. And this is all out of cardboard and duct tape.
Wow, how about that? Omeglitch has a question. Didn't the steam engine the Romans made, they could really think of a use for it, so just saw it as a novelty?
That's what modern this is my warning to those out there looking into this stuff. Never forget that the victors write the history.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. The Antikythera mechanism, that calculator that actually measures the stars using brass gears. Okay. That thing is a reality from admittedly 107 AD and was probably a lot more prevalent in history than anybody's willing to admit. History cannot deny it. It's a real object in reality. So they can't deny it. But the year before that thing was out there, They were living in the Bronze Age. These guys were primitives as far as modern science was concerned. And then they found the Antikythera mechanism and had to start rewriting their history books. And they were pissed off about it, too. They didn't like it at all. So never forget that the steam engine may have been a practicalized device. After all, they had aqueducts that had capabilities and ran across the landscape much more prevalently than we ever could believe. Because during the Dark Ages, castles were built out of those aqueducts. They didn't give a shit if it was a power system. Local people just pulled those damn things apart because they didn't like the Roman Empire anyway. And they built a cathedral or a castle or a building or a public works or a bridge using the remains of a collapsed Roman aqueduct. And that's where they went. So history has lost more than it tells. Never forget that.
We need to hang out more often. You're my kind of scholar.
Hey, man, this is the fire I bring, baby.
I know, right? Papa Cotton says, anyone else tired of people who are always trying to get you to look at pics of their kids? My sister's friend is like that. I keep telling her they're never going to find them.
Milk carton moms.
Sorry. It's on a milk carton. Find your kids.
Papa Cotton.
Next time you buy a box of milk. There you go. 11 people to watch. Thanks for coming in, man. That's the most I've had on this show. Thanks for checking us out, ladies and gentlemen.
I shared this out on Facebook.
Thanks.
And I did the same on Twitter just a little while ago.
Didn't you have
Twitter handle? I want to follow you if we're not already following each other.
Man.
Just start off with my name. I just recently rehandled so that all of my names are unified. It's all StephenRansom, either with a 47 or without on YouTube and Twitter. And those are the only two platforms I'm on. I'm in a few Guilded servers just because of communications, but hey, cheers. Just saw it pop up, man.
Yeah.
But I limit it. And you know what? During the time I've been on Twitter, I have had magnificent success. I've been able to bypass the drama, and Elon just took over. So, hey, it's all going good, baby. It's all positive.
Right. The guy didn't make
YouTube just gave us all community tabs.
That's right.
And YouTube just allowed us all to handle our names on our own accounts. And most of us now have official HTTPs. So, it's all turning. It is turning. And this system is amazing for communication.
Gradually.
Awesome. Well, I just gave you a follow on the Twitterverse.
I just saw that pop up, man. I got them all live right now in front of me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Networking is powerful. I tell you.
An Apex Predator, I like to.
Now, if only they would get my order right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great. And the base Twitter analytics, I've when I first got into it, I started doing it like a stockbroker, where I would keep checking out, seeing how this went. Why didn't it go that way? Do I need to add a hashtag or two? Or, maybe a more dramatic image will help. And all I was doing was just tooting the horn of somebody I was following, watching on YouTube. And that was it. I was like a Twitter cheerleader for some YouTube channels. And that's how I got started. And eventually I wound up here.
It's fantastic how it works out. And Apex, I like to joke that I'm your friendly neighborhood force multiplier. But Apex here, man, is truly a force multiplier. It's a whole bunch of dilly-gap. Doesn't look like I give a fuck, because he's here for the fun. He's here for the comics. He's here for the great stuff. Everybody out there in TV land, make sure you smash that like button, hit that bell to receive all notifications.
Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Nice, man.
Appreciate it, everybody. Really do.
This is the ultimate soapbox.
Yes, it is, man. Seems that way tonight. That's awesome, man. Saturday night, they could be anywhere else. But thanks for coming here on my show, and thank you, each and every one of you. I really appreciate that. And say hello to Margot. Hey, Margot. Good morning, Apex and Panel. Morning,
Margot.
chat. Yes, it's her morning in Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Sorry, have you ever seen the the two-part episode, the last episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I am Christopher Lambert. I am from Scotland.
I'm not. When did that come out?
Oh, geez, a long time ago when they ended the series.
Oh God, when did they end that series? They should have kept going.
Like 2007.
Really?
Aqua Team Hunger Force, man.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Oh my God, that's 15 years ago. I have to see that one. I've not seen that one. I usually catch them when I can, but
oh, dude,
it's fun.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is inane and it's stupid, but at the same time, it's surprisingly deep.
Yeah,
it is.
Yep. Yeah, you know, I was talking before. We were talking about beatnik novels way back in the day, and the Kool-Aid novels and stuff like that. During the '90s, we got early '90s, mid '80s, we got a revival of a lot of that kind of voiceage, right? And we were seeing a lot of it in like David Fincher, right, doing stuff like that, and Twin Peaks and such. But there was a writer around that same time that wrote some books. Still Life with Woodpecker, Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, and there was a sequel to Even Cowgirls Get the Blues that included.
Is that the one with Uma Thurman with the giant thumb?
They attempted to bring it to film, but they really could not produce the book. The book is surreal adventure story, right? And it's early '90s, like second wave feminism,
right?
And trippy hippie style, right? Like really groovy, like Dig It Baby. Quentin was probably reading some of this stuff because a lot of his cool ass voice is in these books, right? But in the sequel, there was a sub story, like kind of like a B plot about a sock, a can of beans, a cucumber, and one other object that suddenly became an animate and started traveling across country. And when I saw Aqua Team Hunger Force happen as a reality, I was like, this has got to be the grandchild of such characters, because it was just after that we started getting things like SpongeBob, right? And Aqua Team Hunger Force. These inanimate objects are having a syndicated show. It's outrageous. What is going on here?
Phil Diaz sock came to life. Ew, I don't know. That'd be crazy.
And like the can of beans was the smartest one because there was the most matter inside of the can, right?
The can of beans, yeah.
But the sock was much more flexible, right? I mean, like that. Like that was those were the personalities. But
it's
that kind of surrealism.
It's funny how we're discussing these things. Are we on shrooms right now?
Well, I'm sort of there.
I know.
Caffeine and Mary Jane. It's doing the trick, man. It's working.
Awesome.
It's working.
Hey, it works. Whatever works. Oh wow! I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm not driving no tank.
Cool.
I'm not driving no bus. I'm not protecting kids. I'm just alone here in my apartment, so I'm good. I'm safe. It's all safe. It's all good.
Carrie says it's 7 a.m. Could still be asleep in bed, Margot. I would be if I wasn't for insomnia. Oh, yeah. Insomnia attacks. Oh, yeah. Happens to people every day. Hot damn. Rex, are you asleep?
No.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
Margot's checking. Is Rex asleep? He must all his streaming. Has he have the energy? Yeah, I know, right?
And Rex, I wanted to just say that we ran through, like we were flipping through multiple catalog books. We ran through a lot. We covered a lot of territory really, really fast, man. Let's settle it down and kind of chill it out. Where introductions are over, Rex. Massive respect for you, dude. We got some common ground between the two of us, man. We could just chill it back. Chill it back.
Yeah. Chill it back. That's right. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Just listening.
Sure.
That's right.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
Quarter past the second hour, into the third. We're good to go, man.
I'm not gonna go 3 hours. Maybe 2.5. Oh man, there's lots going on. I swear.
Well, it just pop culture. It shows you just pop culture really defines, this society.
Yeah.
I know it did. I did it. It was, that little box called a TV helped define my world, and expand my consciousness out into what else was out there. I I first discovered California on TV.
Right.
You know, back in the '60s, you had the Monkees was set out in
Oh, the
California.
Monkees are great.
You had
Yeah.
Beverly Hillbillies was out in California. There was a lot of TV shows that were centered around California, frankly.
Yeah, and I'm discovering that a show like The $6 Million Man was almost entirely filmed in on the coast of California. I mean, now that I've been living here since 1998, I watched through the box set, and I was like, I know that house in Malibu. I know that street corner in Santa Monica. That's Venice Beach. There's the swing set. You know, like no joke.
Filmed it hasn't changed that much, has it?
No. All of those land pieces, those pieces are protected almost by and owned outright by the film industry. I've been to the Batman tunnel from the 60s Batman, right? I've been out to where the MASH set existed, right? It's all out here. You look at the hills in Calabasas, you just hear do no 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 no
and a helicopter.
It's amazing.
Helicopter noise coming in.
Fantastic.
You know, the patience.
It sounded like Chewbacca helicopter.
Yeah, it's a Chewbacca helicopter, everybody.
It's tricky out here like that.
You'll make a woman happy one of these days. Just saying.
Oh, certainly. All right, I'm going to go and share something. I will share. Here we go.
Shield your eyes, guys.
People should actually check this out. This is a Devil Flyer ash can from Devil Flyer Rex. It is at Rex. What is this marvelous project you have here?
Oh, well, it's sort of the precursor to the whole book. You get 6 pages of the actual story, so it leaves on a cliffhanger. You don't get the whole story, but and some great pinups. And you'll also get like a supplement. So altogether, you're getting like 2 books, total of 24 pages, chock full, with 2 trading cards. And this will be wrapping up here pretty soon and out to people. So I'm excited about that. And then the mail up for the big book, just trying to get stuff produced and hopefully 100% done by the time launch the thing. Hopefully, we'll see.
Oh man, yeah, it can't
be very. That's my goal, to get it 100% finished before it launches. But there may be some coloring that needs to be done. There may be some lettering that needs to be done, but it will be very minor and be probably completed within the 2 months of the campaign. So hopefully we've still got time. I've been working on it. It's trying to get I'm actually, not everybody has a backlog like you do, Apex, of like things that they could just reprint. It's years and years of stuff. And it's like, so yeah, it's comics. You really have to get on,
yes.
But the main story with Devil Flyer, it's 3 horror stories, three hero stories. All there's heroes within the horror stories too. I've been giving consideration of just doing like horror short stories, crowdfund eventually that. Not really thought that much about the horror genre, but it drew that into here as far as having a variety of stories to tell. And those horror stories are great. One can be standalone stories, one shot, but now it's an interconnected universe. And Devil Flyer, the main story, is 29 pages of the book. It's a pretty lengthy story, but it goes by quick. He's basically in all the stories are leading to present time. They're set slightly in the past, and they'll be in the first issue. There'll be 6 stories, and it'll be larger, maybe 60 something pages by now. But
wow,
yeah, I was shooting for 48, but I've expanded on that. And
it's
then
growing.
and issue 2 will be 5, and then 3, 4, and so forth till you get to the 6th issue, where it's just Devil Flyer and all the characters are in one big epic story. It's like I say, it's an interconnected universe of characters, and we're just trying to develop and get them developed and out there. This is the beginning of it.
Okay,
the ash can.
Hell yeah, let's go. We're gonna play the wonderful bean footage, ladies and gentlemen.
Finally,
Yeah,
poor
let's go
Chad is
check it
blue balling
out.
it out there.
Absolutely, yes. Let's
Very cool.
now who Rex, who's the artist of this book again?
He's actually a neighbor of mine that I've known since 1982.
Wow, nice.
And he was
Nice.
he and another guy were making like Dave Snow. They were making homemade comic books that they made by hand, and they were had an exhibition and was showing some of that in a case in the public library. And my mother still, you know, reads books and goes to the library even today. And she said, "Oh, you need to get in contact with these guys," and I did. And we've been past friends since. At 1982. He was in graphic design. I was younger. I was still in high school. About 16, I guess, when I met him, 16, 17. And I had proposed Devil Flyer as a character, created him back in, I think, 2017. But we've done things through the years, but we've never quite got a project. And then when Comicscape kind of came around and the crowdfunding, it's like, yeah, this is the thing. He spent a little bit over a year. He did the artwork, he did the lettering, he did the inking.
Wow.
And I did the thumbnails of the story, the layout of the story, and the dialogue that wrote the story. So
it's like a two-man job in a way, right? Man.
Yeah, oh, definitely. He put more labor in it than I did. I tried actually on this story to do the Stan Lee method, where kind of gave him but I did thumbnail it out. So he had something to go by, and then but what I found out that really doesn't work for me. And then why he didn't say, well, I would prefer to write from a script, because he later said I would rather go by a script. Well, I could have done that too, but I tried the Stan Lee method, and what I found out when doing the dialogue, if the character's mouth isn't open, I really can't put dialogue there. It doesn't make much sense. So
yeah, I mean, just some comics I have characters with their mouth closed in between, and
he goes up against the Cy Marco family, which is a mafia family, and it's a pretty straight told story with a little bit of humor, a little bit some Easter eggs. He's more of a DC guy, I'm more of a Marvel guy, so you get I really, till people got eyes on it, said, well, this kind of, I really didn't think about it, but they say it has a Golden Age feel. So if you like Golden Age,
it does have that,
yeah. And it'll probably have a vastly different look in the second issue, because I doubt John will do a second story for me. But it's a good beginning, and it was a great start. I give him all the credit. Without John doing the initial work on Devil Flyer, I wouldn't have a project. I mean, I wouldn't have a springboard to hire other artists to do the other short stories within it. And so just having that initial story 100% complete, except maybe for coloring, which was, it was always meant to be done in black and white, but I am considering coloring it. I may hand color it myself.
Well, you know what? Hey, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Colors.
And Rex, if I may offer, there's an alternate option as well. Publishing pulp black and white is becoming quite a thing, and a lot of young people are familiar with it due to the manga industry blowing up in everybody's face.
Right.
So you could offer color as an alternate tier.
That's a good idea. Oh, not only that, right? It's 12-page action, plus you get a supplement with it, right? Another 12-page supplement.
Yes. Total. Okay. Yeah. I had talked to actually Shadowhawk, who is my that was on with us earlier. He's my co-host on the 4 o'clock Shadow Show.
Yeah.
That's 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern every day. I said, would you rather see it in one book or would you like to see it broken up in two? And he said two. So we're doing a 12-page book, and then the ash can will be like 12 pages, and the supplement will be 12. It'll feature, the supplement will feature a cover done by John. The interiors will it was actually a drawing that'll be the first drawing that he did off of my drawing. The first time he drew him. It's actually a Batman Carmen Infantino homage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's, if you go to my channel, that's on my banner, or you go to my Twitter, that's it has a section of that. So I'm going to, even though that'll be the only, I thought that was fitting, that there's a lot of John in the ash can, but nothing of John's, except I thought I would give him that color. I have that one image. So I thought, yeah, it needs to have some devil flyer on it, and
Right.
John's the man. So, but all the rest inside is kind of like what I and Vic King have been developing, as far as characters, inside. So it's not a total Vic King thing, but the cover's done by John. But I thought that was fitting, and you get a couple of black and white cards, and it'll be in the first wave of cards. I'll produce 9 cards, because there's like 9 in a sheet. I was going to do more than that. I was up to like 13 in my mind, maybe 14 cards, but yeah, yeah, it is. But I can't say that I've developed T-shirts or stickers or I do have some sticker designs already done. I have a patch design already done. I even have some of the characters drawn in Vic King's manga style. So for people that do like manga, so I have about,
out of curiosity,
different...
what are the cards like? What kind of stock are you using? Is it like
I'll
a
probably use a matte finish.
Stock?
I know people like
matte finish,
like a slick finish, but I like the matte. Yeah,
I too. Yeah,
and I could see the pulp matte being more desirable too. It just aesthetically, I like the way ink looking flat.
Yeah, I'm really, I really, I own a few old 30s or 40s pulps in my collection. I have a pretty extensive collection. If you don't know, Stephen, about 30,000 comics. Original,
if you're into comic books yourself, there's no surprise there.
Original art, original production art. One key piece I have is the one and only color guide to Avengers #4.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece of work.
I guess that makes me a cinema buff, because most of my collection is cinematic. It's mostly physical media, disc and VHS as well.
Oh, there's something about having a hard copy.
That's my primary collection.
Yeah. I actually have one of the few physical props that was from Crusade, the Babylon 5 spinoff that was only like 13 episodes.
Oh, nice.
In the beginning, opener that was shown every week, this skull falls down in the cavern with the little rat-like character that she is, or whatever, the scrounger, and I actually have one of those. It's plaster of Paris painted. I think they made about 5 of them for the but most of that was CGI. So to have a physical prop from that show's kind of rare.
Heck yeah. Lemon Pie says, Stephen has been a great guest. Agreed. Absolutely. He's bringing a lot of people, and the most people I've had on this show in its history. So thank you, StephenRansom.
Oh,
thank you, Captain
Kennedy. Lay that on my doorstep. Good gracious. I think my shoulders just went down 3 inches.
All right.
That's a lot. No, that has nothing to... Dude, Apex, man, you're bringing it, man. And Friday night, this is an interesting Friday night. People just happened by. I've been seeing some good numbers
Saturday
on some smaller channels these days.
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
It's Friday? Really?
No,
it's Friday night.
Like I said, I've been
went back in time
noon,
already,
man. Noon West Coast, man. I've been streaming since midday today, continuously. So I've lost track of time. I was streaming last night as well for 7-8 hours on top of that. So, but. Wow. Dude, Apex, people want to watch some of these newer channels, some of these smaller voices. They're coming out of the woodwork for, newer voices. Enough already with the big channels. Who watches
That's
that
right.
at this point?
Yeah.
Who watches FNT anymore, man? I'm too busy watching so many other channels at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you ever go on Ethan Van Sciver, the chat is moving at lightning speed.
Oh,
even probably in slow mode. I mean, it's just blazing all the time.
It is. Yep. Yeah, it's like I can't really say hello to people I know. Oh, wait, there's too fast. And I'll go scroll down and up and like, I missed some chats or whatever. Smaller channels, you can pay attention to the chat, and the chat needs attention. And that's what we're giving them tonight.
That's right. Hail, Lorenzo.
Hail to the chat. Hail to the money chat.
Hail chat. Hey, look, Lorenzo Sleestack there in the chat. He was my first backer on the Ash Can. So thank you again, Lorenzo, for that.
Yeah.
Dang it! I left my juice. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm ruining Christmas.
That's all right. We'll be gone by the time you get back.
No, I won't.
Could I get a glass of orange juice, please?
Please, an orange juice. I just need juice. Crusade was a cool I'll bite and short-lived sci-fi space show. Crusade, when did that come out?
Just right after
the prop. Yeah. Right after Babylon 5.
Right after Babylon 5.
All right.
Yeah. There
was a lot of hanky-panky in the last moments, the last gasps of the Babylon 5 universe.
Oh, Friday Night
members
Tights
were leaving and coming, and
yeah,
so the ending was being rewritten almost in real time, where the main body of the story, he was writing that for like 15, 20 years before he ever got a TV contract.
Yeah, he really world built. He written the lore 1,000,000 years in the past and 1,000,000 years into the future.
Yep. He had a vast universe at his fingertips when they were producing that show.
I think the weakest episode or season was season 4 for me. Even though it had a build up, with the psychics, the
lead up to conquering Earth to regain?
Well, I mean,
Earth?
the mental, I thought that was a little, the blonde haired leader.
Well, they were in continuous threat of being canceled. Plot lines where they were continuously trying to tie up plot lines when they wanted to really leave threads loose for a season 5. But they hadn't guaranteed him a season 5 yet. So season 4 got really wonky.
I know. I mean, that's why I say that was really a tight bundle. I mean, Stravinsky was writing it all himself, only he kind of knew what was going to happen, go on, and in a way. Yeah. And it was, I don't know if you could, I mean, I know he's trying to revive it and do, and the sad thing of it is we can't have a lot of cameos in the new show because most of the actors and actresses have passed away.
Yep. Yeah. See, again, I'm going to bring up this reality of copyright retention. Okay. We're looking at a universe where being on a streaming platform may retain an entirely different copyright contract. And if Stravinsky doesn't do anything with Babylon 5, even as a poor attempt, he may not be able to solidify a legacy contract for Babylon 5.
Right.
Because there are very detailed contracts with all of these negotiations in the past.
If you don't use it,
may or may not include DVD, may have only mentioned VHS when it was originally designed, and that Laserdisc was still an invention in flux. And Blu-ray is a whole other discussion because it's a higher resolution image. 4K is another one. 4K, and you may 5K. Not get that in your contract, right?
Right.
So I think that's why these properties are being revisited, and they're falling into the reimagined category because they're trying to expand the image of it wide enough so that it can't be copied or cloned either.
I think it'll be pretty decent if Stravinsky can, retain control over it somewhat.
Sure. Whatever. It's going to be what it's going to be. There's nothing we can do about it. It's
Steve, that's true. It was really my overall impression of it is it's pretty dense material. I think on a revamp, I think he could kind of loosen up with it somewhat.
I guess, but all I can picture is Stargate Universe. That ridiculous teenage, edgy, stupid teenage drama show that was trying to be a Stargate show. That was just like, oh my God, would you stop being MTV Nickelodeon with this nonsense? Let's go back to the Stargate Universe, please.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like, what the hell, guys?
Did you not like Babylon 5? Did you not like Babylon 5?
I loved the original Babylon 5. I'm desperately trying to bleed myself dry in desperate, protest of them ever touching that material again. Move on to something else, you vultures. Stop it already. Right. I don't care if Stravinsky's on board or not. Like, don't do it. Just don't. I don't want you to revive Firefly either. I just keep your hands off my Serenity crew, man. No, no touch. No Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No touch.
No touchy. I'll chop your hands.
Don't breathe on it. Don't even touch. Don't even see it. No.
And that's my position on the whole mess. Enough already.
We didn't even mention Farscape, which was the Sci-Fi Channel coming out. It's flagged
too.
Farscape,
Don't you freaking dare!
I miss Lex. I love that
too. And you know what? Andromeda. Let's just throw Andromeda on there. How about Earth Final Conflict?
Andromeda. Yeah,
Andromeda's good.
Okay, don't touch it. It's done. It is what it is. Just make a 4K box set and shut up. Okay.
What do you think?
Stop it.
What do you think about the news that Captain Sisko is returning from the Great Beyond to Alpha Canon?
Oh my goodness! I yawn with a gaping mouth. Okay, I just don't care anymore, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. As much as I love Brooks Avery, I mean, that guy is a wildcat. I've had the honor of meeting him. He is somebody who exists. Yeah, dude, he exists in his own universe.
Wow.
And you are, he's not having an adventure in your land. You're having an adventure in his world.
The wonderful thing about Farscape to me, and was it Star Trek Voyager, is that they had a blank slate. They were like in the Delta Quadrant, or they were on the edge of the unknown universe. They were way out there in space. Where
that's what made it a guilty pleasure.
Right.
That's what made Voyager a guilty pleasure for a lot of Trekkies, where they're almost ashamed to admit that, you know what, I like it. I'm sorry.
I do too, but
I just wish that Kim.
I think they could have done better on the, they had like junkyard dog type aliens that were always dogging them in Voyager, and
that's
I
true.
just, and then
the invention of the Doctor, the relationship between Paris and Kim, and the Delta Flyer, the relationship between Paris and the chief of engineering, that Klingon, that sexy woman. Good God, man. It was so inventive. It's like, I didn't care what planets they visited. That crew was really watchable.
I'm just saying that the crew, that the aliens, that they went up against, and then eventually they hit the Borg, as they got closer.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't seen a love relationship as good as B'Elanna Torres and Tom Paris since Robotech with Rand and Rook, and the Jack McKinney novels, right? When they expanded it and when they did the after the Robotech stuff.
It was Battlestar Galactica, if you think about it, return to Earth theme. We've got to get back to the Earth.
Only good casting on the reboot of Battlestar Galactica was Starbuck, because a slut is a slut and you can't shame a player with game.
Yeah. It's shame. It's really a shame that he didn't go on with his career, more than he did after doing Starbuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, anybody named Dirk.
He was on the A-Team.
Dirk
Benedict ran for decades.
Dirk Benedict. I met the guy, in fact. Yeah. I was back in 2000 and 2008, 9.
Yeah, he was on the A-Team, wasn't he?
He was in the Nashville.
He was a face man.
Yeah.
Yeah, his face. Good guy. He was selling his book at the time.
Well, you got to remember too that these guys, they didn't age out, right? They didn't get greedy. At some point, they met a nice girl, found a cool town, bought a great house, and just said, bye-bye, have fun.
Right.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the fish. And they were done.
Thanks for all the fish.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the fish.
They were a beautiful dolphin. Bye-bye. Moving to the Midwest. See ya. Like, what's his face there from Dukes of Hazzards? Okay. That guy just left the whole business, settled down.
Tom Wopat. Yeah.
He's doing great. He's doing great. He's still gorgeous, standing on 2 feet.
Apex, I think you should show that great trailer, that great opening trailer again.
Oh, yeah. Let me go and grab it real quick. Ooh.
Have you seen it, Tank? Did you see it earlier?
A second. Let me go and find it. What? Oh, I'll show it. Just give me a moment.
For how many cookies?
Because I got cookies. He has a new opening trailer that
I do. Let me find it.
He's not even mentioned Fembat, but hey, or the Creep.
Oh well, we're such a tight conversation, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish Stephen had something to say. It's very hard to get anything out of him, you know, on this interview.
Hey, you know what? Kick me in the shins, man, if I'm too chatty. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Lorenzo. Here,
Kathy.
He said Voyager had an awesome crew, but I didn't find the enemy races all that convincing. And Chakotay, yeah, the enemy races were a little flat.
Yeah, Chakotay. Yeah,
but Chakotay, I mean, that was a beautiful chance to do some exploration, but he was so just kind of. I have to agree with Lorenzo. He was tokenized.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball. He didn't have to be tokenized. They really could have gotten into that whole culture of what a spacefaring Indian would be like, but they just dropped the ball. I don't know what the deal was. They got pushback because of political correctness. Warner Brothers, Paramount just wasn't brave enough to explore native territory without getting into EPA and friggin' crazy tribe nonsense. I don't know. I don't know what it was. They just dropped the ball. They bowed out. They got cold feet. And just dropped the character. The whole universe just dropped the character too. Deep Space Nine barely explored those guys.
One thing I had to mention, since we have mentioned so much on Star Trek, is the animated series, made by Filmation,
which is alpha canon, by the way.
Oh yes,
people don't want to acknowledge, but it's alpha canon, not beta canon, not like the
got
novels.
to see Spock's pet that was mentioned in the original series. You got to see Vulcan and. That was a time travel story where he went back and met his own young self.
Yeah, so many cool alien races that they just couldn't do with the budget they had for the live action show.
Or large ships. Yeah.
Like the plant people that cloned Spock. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, man.
All right, here's everyone waiting for. Check this out. I love it. Oh,
hell yeah, man. That looks great.
Thank you.
Well, the thing about the animated series, just real quick, is that it had everybody except Chekhov, as a voice. You had Doohan and you had Major Barrett doing multiple voices of characters and aliens. And so much of it did become canon, and it had writers from the original series, and the actor, that played Chekhov, he wasn't in it, but he got to write an episode, which was his first screenplay for anything that he had written. So it's worth checking out, and it was the first TV Emmy, the only Emmy that they won.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a travesty. That's a travesty.
Yeah, it really
Damn,
is.
that's like
but
friggin' Henry
Paramount,
Fonda, man. Henry Fonda's been
Paramount didn't
gypped.
know what they had, but it
Yeah.
really kind of it's really at least the fourth, maybe the fifth year journey of, frankly, some of the fan base stuff that you see on YouTube that's Star Trek related is better than some of the crap that they've given us,
Dude,
like Discovery.
I just
Yeah.
recently started
Ugh.
watching the
Ugh.
Adventure Continues, Star Trek: The Adventure Continues with Vic Mignogna.
Oh,
yeah,
I love
that's
that.
some good.
Yeah.
We really need to figure out a way to license this stuff, because the only way this stuff is going to survive is this new conversation about licensing this stuff out. We got a multiverse, Warner Brothers, Disney. What the hell you guys are afraid of, man? DC, Marvel? License the shit out, just like you do with baseball teams and football teams, man. Stop being a friggin' coward. That's right. License it out and let the fans do it right.
It's about power.
Mm-hmm.
It's about
It is
authority.
about power. It's totally cringe, power hungry, like teenagers.
We will control the vertical.
We
will control the
horizontal.
I worked
right.
in Hollywood for a number of years after I got out of the Army in 2005. I immediately I jumped in. First I jumped into the HR scene. I was a corporate headhunter.
Right.
But then I jumped
because of course you were.
Hey, it was good money, and I BS'd my way into a job.
God bless you, man. Thanks for serving.
Good for you. Right.
Hey, you can't spell cantankerous without tanker.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah. I got into doing like storyboards. I was art directing. I was doing submissions editing, and getting talent in. And because the HR led into me hunting talent, which led into me being an art director for indie operations and stuff like that. And like what I saw in the indie scene, even though I've worked on, some of these big name projects where, I was subcontracted by a subcontractor, so you won't see my name. I'm not credited, but I did storyboarding for some of your favorite movies back in the between 2007 and 2014, and which probably I think one of the movies that I worked on came out in I think the latest one was 2009 or something like that. But since I'm not credited, I ain't gonna drop it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't exist. I was one of the nameless drones working on these projects. But what I saw in the industry was nightmarish. It's not about who you know, and it's not so much as who knows you. Is that who is reciprocating accolades, right? It's because people go put it crudely. It's all about who you fuck, right? And it's yeah, not to put it so crudely or so literally, but yeah, it's kind of like that, and that's how Hollywood works.
Yeah, I think the proper terminology would be stroke. Who are you stroking? And that does not mean sexually. We're talking about egos here, baby. Yeah. We're talking about who's wearing the best suit, who gives the best gifts on Christmas, like that kind of shit.
Right.
That's one of the things that held me back while I was in the Army was that I refused to kiss ass.
That's another term for it.
If
probably the more honest one. Brown nose is another one.
Right. If I say
ignoring the chat leads directly to rival live streams. Oh shit.
Hey, you know what
Captain
happens?
Gonna be captain.
We do a flame war. That means if you do a flame war tank style, right? You go over to their chat, you put a bunch of flame emojis, and then you smash that like button, you hit that subscribe, and then you hit that bell to receive all notifications.
You know what, man? Every once in a while, when I just can't afford to spend any more time than this, I'll do a walkabout. I'll do a live stream walkabout, and I'll do it for 2 or 3 hours. Just keep wandering around YouTube. Who's live? Who do I know? Who's on the air right now? Pop by, drop in the chat, say hello to the guys, honor the wrenches, drop a like, maybe share, maybe listen for a little while, and move on, baby. Get Aussie on that shit. So that's another method.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's how I found like a bunch of these channels out here, like Apex and LDS. He's got a wonderful channel. He's working on freeing the net. I love that guy. He is cyberpunk AF. He's a real cyberpunk. You know, not like me. I'm a solo, man. I'm the guy who makes sure that you're still alive to hack that net. But, you know, you hack it.
That's right. You're the real boots on the street, man. It's like really on the corner with artillery, right?
Hey, you can't spell disgruntled without grunt.
Apex says, I'm not going 3 hours, and here we are coming up.
Oh, well, I lied.
Oh, well. Hey, man, having fun. Unless you got something to do, man, it's all cool.
Yeah. And okay. Well, let me go
Weston,
ahead and, let me whore my projects here while I have my
please, man.
All right. Let's do this.
And send me turnarounds for your character.
Okay. So, yeah, this is currently the Apex Comics Cavalcade. It's a beautiful wraparound cover. 20 pages, black and white, 3 complete stories. You have the Stars of Freedom. You also have, yes, there's the Stars of Freedom right here, all coming at you. You also have the Land Shark coming up from the deep blue sea up onto the beach. And you have T-Rex Fighter. You have a guy landing on a prehistoric planet filled with dinosaurs and action, all wrapped in a beautiful package. That's right. All for $10 postage paid, folks. Not only that, you'll get something extra from me as a bonus in this neatly tight package. And let's see here. Let me bring it down. We have, oh yeah, there it is right here. Yeah, there it is. No, that's a Holozine. That's the wrong ticker. No, it's not it. Yeah, here it is right here. Let me get the ticker off here. Boom. Yep. Apex Comics Cavalcade. There it is. PayPal.me / APX GRAFIX Apex Graphics. That's my publishing company. So there you go. And not only that, I am reviving Madam X. I put this on Instagram and Twitter, by the way. It's getting a little bit of interest.
Dude, I saw that. Dude,
yeah.
That one really caught my eye, man. I mean, I love what you're doing.
Yes. The super spy of 1,000 faces from Great Britain during World War II.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah.
Very cool.
A mini book. Yeah, back in 1998. I drew this all out. I did a little larger format, and it's hard to find the original pages, but I do have this. I can probably multiply and redo this, and which I will do. I'll redo.
That's right. Reimagine Apex. Reimagine it.
Madam
X. That wraparound.
Thank you.
That looks great.
Oh, thank you.
I can't get past how Moon Knight it is, but it's not Moon Knight at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Madam X.
And also a lot like some of those. What is it? The spirit or the shadow? Not the gangster characters. From the but there was another DC character that had that same kind of look where it's white hood, shadows on the face, right? Black and white costume, and they've got magic and stuff like that. All early Golden Age stuff.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot of those kinds of characters. So I like that, like callback to that kind of style of character design. It's cool.
Absolutely. Live, yeah, man. Oh, fair. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon. You know what, guys? Thanks for coming in, and let me go ahead. Let's go back here.
Thank you.
Thanks to the mighty chat. Thank you, Stephen, for coming on. Thank you, Tank Ferret, for popping in here. And thanks to the mighty Shadowhawk Talks. He was in earlier. So thanks each and every one of you wonderful people in the chat. People watching on replay. My subscribers, thank you so much. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, ring bell for notifications. We'll be on, of course, next episode, Apex After Dark. Same time, 11 p.m. I think this is a good hour. So we'll do this for now until something changes. So who knows?
Hey, we hit a stride, man, and have been 12 to 14, almost the whole time through.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
So, I think next, who's live streaming? Captain Finity's streaming. If you want to catch him on, Captain Finity is streaming right now. So go ahead and catch his live stream. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting topics and things to say, especially the
about
time
the show,
travel
perhaps.
thing.
Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe this. I was on Apex chat. I was in the Apex Twin. Apex. I was on this show. He'll probably talk about me. So
that's right.
I'm sure it'll be
Apex
fun.
doesn't know how. Look at how I'm looking at my chat, and Apex just doesn't know squat about his chat, man.
We're instigators, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on Apex. As
Yes.
always, dude, I always appreciate
You're
it when
welcome.
people lend me their platform to run
Absolutely.
my mouth.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Only
Interesting topics we discussed.
Subscribe to
Indeed.
Tank's channel. Tank Fair does have a channel.
Indeed.
Subscribe today if you haven't already. Ring bell for notifications, likes, all that stuff, man.
Little Leonard Nimoy line
Thanks.
there. Indeed.
Yeah, indeed.
That's right.
With the eyebrow.
Oh, yeah.
Raised
Yeah,
eyebrow.
and
30
Teal'c
minutes.
stole that stuff, man.
Oh,
Teal'c turned that into a reality with a big muscly guy. He was like Muscle Spock. Almost.
Muscle Spock. Kind of is.
Hashtag muscle
live-
Spock.
Yeah, hashtag Muscle Spock. Hannah's going live in half an hour, so check out. Just call me in, and also check out the latest variety show. Yeah, Lorenzo Sleesak has a variety
What
show.
are my links? Okay.
And
yeah.
Sweet.
So he has that, I think, every Thursday, right, Lorenzo? Correct me if I'm wrong. And Rex, yeah, what is your links, Rex? Yeah, go
Okay,
and
I'm getting them very quickly.
Yeah.
I will drop again. Let's see. Already had one in there, I think. Let's see.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's an awesome night, awesome morning. The start of your. Oh, here you go. Yes, it looks like Lorenzo beat you to it. You can catch Rex's channel. Yeah,
and I'm on Twitter
folks.
under Devil Flyer as well.
There's my girl Cheryl Ann. Hi, baby. How you doing, Cheryl Ann? Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Weston,
Flyer.
when we go backstage, man, I just want a few seconds of your time backstage.
Yeah, I like to hang out
Nice,
after the
Carol.
shows.
His hands
Well, I don't know
out.
what Apex has got going on after he closes, so
That's where the real money happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real money.
backstage, yeah.
Sorry,
sure.
folks out there in TV land, but we always save the best for behind the scenes. You know how.
That's right. That's where the bitches is at.
That's where the bitch is at. Hashtag muscle Spock.
All right.
That's right. Hashtag muscle Spock.
That's right.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Engage.
Engage.
Emphasis on the
Yes.
gay.
I am locutus.
Emphasis
That's
on
right.
the
Every
cute.
Thursday, except Thanksgiving. Oh, he's not gonna have a Thanksgiving episode. Hey,
Nice.
it's okay. A flyer.
That's
to
some
Twitter.
military
There you
humor
go.
I already
there,
know I'm
man.
going to hell. I'm just padding my resume. All right.
Nice.
Wow.
Behind the scenes is fun. Yeah, right?
Hey, I want to
That's
be
right.
like in charge of something important, like Department of Butthole Spiders.
What's
That's
the other
right. If you're gonna
panelist, John?
burn, there better be high grade flames, man.
Let me know how
If
that
you're gonna
works
burn
out for you.
anyway.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and each one of you guys go ahead and promote your channels. So we'll go,
Ooh,
Steven.
yeah. But let's see what I got going on here. If I've got anything coming up at all. It's actually, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'm on a show called Mixtape Mondays. This is happening, of course, on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And the usual pluses for Central and East Coast, and additional pluses and subtraction for the rest of the globe. Do the math. 41 hours from now, Mixtape Mondays. We're basically going to be talking movie and television soundtracks and just letting it slip and slide wherever it'll go after that. We got a pretty epic panel. Some special guests have been coming to join. Roman of the Empire from Mixtape Mondays. On YouTube, of course, I'll be tweeting about it probably all day tomorrow to promote the thing. But we're going to get into soundtracks, and we have an illustrious guest on the panel. That 70s rock fan is going to be on the panel with us. So that's going to be really, really cool.
Oh, that's excellent. Very
And that's
cool,
Monday.
Man. That is Monday. Good. Okay, Rex,
Start
go
the
ahead.
week
Your
off
turn.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daily show, 4 o'clock Central, 5 Eastern time every day. Called the 4 o'clock Shadow with Shadowhawk that was in here. Is my co-host, and we'll be doing a coffee stream at 7:30 Central today, later today, and usually do that. That's fluctuated a little bit on the weekend, so people can sleep in. I generally do it about, what is it? About 6:30, or I don't know. And I forget. He's messed me up. He said I would like to sleep in on the weekend, so it's like, okay, I'll adjust it. So he said 7:30 would be good for him today, so we're doing it at 7:30 Central. Coffee stream.
Oh, cool.
Never know what you can catch me, on my channel there, and link, and on Twitter, on Instagram, all under Devil Flyer. I believe in branding, like Steven. Keep it easy for people.
That's right.
Keep it all one name.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Okay, here you go, Tank. You got something to promote.
All right, so I'm the one, the only, the friendly neighborhood force multiplier, the Tank Ferret. Oh yeah, you can check me out at /Tank Ferret Art, at Tank Ferret Art, on most social media platforms. I've got my book, Apex Predator 0 to 12, coming out, featuring my titular character, Scalpel Zero, the prototype cyber droid, the Apex Predator from the year 2065. Come check this out. I'm going to put this up probably on directed on drive-through comics for whatever their price is, plus 97 cents, because that's what I wanted to make. I was going to sell it for $1 off my own website. It turns out I'm not so good at building websites. It's a little hard for me. So
it's
a little bit of yeah, well, it's just a new beast. I mean, I'm a computer nerd, but dude, I found my weak spot. So come check it out, man. It's a whole lot of fun. We're always doing fun stuff. Whenever I do live stream on there, I don't have a regular show going on just at this moment. I'm going to bring back the So Happens It's Wednesday show. You can spell that acronym style, because, I love my acronyms. It's the shit show. That's right. It's the second best shit show on all the internet. Because the best shit show happens on Wednesdays. You can go look it up.
Oh wow, that's fun, man. That's fun.
Yeah, well, you know me, man. I'm always trying to promote other people. I'm trying to build up this thing. And when I give you praise, you know that it's real, because when I give you criticism, I will give you a solution as I see it. You can take it or leave it, but don't accuse me of trying to take over your shit. Otherwise, I'm just going to call you out for what you are, dog abuser. Anyway, have a good evening, everybody out there in TV land. And remember, it's Charlie Mike. Until Mike Charlie.
I do not believe my ears. I do not believe my ears right now.
How about that, folks?
That boy is chilled, man. God, there's like golden lips moving right there.
Hey, it's taken me like 4 years to build my radio voice. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Excellent.
Practice.
Well, got some followers here. Fantastic, guys. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the chat. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, people watching this on the replay. Thank you to my subscribers. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Until next time. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
See you in the future.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
And keep collecting. Oh, wait, wrong channel.